Oh, damn it.
Question for you both that neither of you will think is very important.
Okay. Great.
Is it, do you pronounce it Raz? I think obviously I just got Scott's answer, or Ra's al Ghul, because it's always been Ra's to me in the comics and the animated series. It was Ra's al Ghul.
I think I say Raz al Ghul.
In the movie, they said Raz, and everyone was like, go fuck yourself, Nolan. But there's plenty of other reasons to say go fuck yourself, Nolan, that we're going to cover today.
Yeah, 100%. But it was also Ra's al Ghul in the cartoon. Because like my introduction to him was on Batman the Animated Series when I was a little kid.
I'm pretty sure they call him Ra's in the animated series. I could be mistaken.
I believe I could be mistaken as well, but I believe that you are mistaken. Unless I'm mistaken about you being mistaken, in which case I am clearly mistaken.
This is Schrodinger's conversation because
this is a real gentleman's argument. Unless I'm mistaken, or if you are not, or if we both are, unless neither of us aren't.
If this was the
in which case we both would be not.
Yeah, but like as polite as this discourse has been over the pronunciation of a character who no one really gives a fuck about in current canon, it would have ended with a duel. Like we would have been like sweet to each other up until it was time for one of us to fucking die with a bullet between our eyes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I probably would have apologized after I shot you, or vice versa. Whoever.
You would have apologized after you got shot. That's just
yeah. Oh, you seem to have shot me. Did I get blood in your pantaloons? I'm so sorry. Can you imagine if any YouTube comment section had half the eloquence of like anybody communicating in the 1600s?
No, I can't imagine that.
It's literally impossible.
Happen.
Yeah.
I wish that I could find some way to manipulate the comment section of just one video so that every nasty, heinous, horrific thing that someone says is said in the most polite yet backhanded manner possible.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You could get rich for that. That would just be like a Chrome add-on that no one would ever want to pay for, though. Like, I'd be like, no, fuck that. That's what I get all my anger out at.
I didn't even know there were Chrome add-ons you could pay for. That's where I'm at in this one. I had no fucking idea.
Have you ever seen people on YouTube come to an understanding? It's like seeing a great white buffalo. It's really like, holy shit. They like link it. Here's my source. And they're like, all right, you're right. My bad, man. It's like, holy shit.
My favorite part of that entire question was that you just referenced Hot Tub Time Machine on the sly and just part of regular vernacular.
That great white buffalo. That great white buffalo.
Unless I'm an idiot, is Great White Buffalo used outside that film? Because I've never heard it before. They were talking about Cusack's Great White Buffalo.
Not that I'm aware of, but maybe it is. I don't know.
I think
is that what you were referencing?
It's been adapted.
I was referencing Hot Tub Time Machine, though. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've heard it before, Scott?
Oh, dude, yeah. Hot Tub Time Machine's fucking great.
No. I meant like you. You've heard that before that movie?
No, I know what you mean, but like that phrase has been adapted by everyone who's seen Hot Tub Time Machine and used in regular conversations. So like, if you haven't seen Hot Tub Time Machine, you still definitely have heard that phrase before. Like every, like, you know what I mean? Like every comment section where like a girl who like recently lost weight or like got divorced and is coming into her own. Every one of those copy paste like mid-30s bad bitches. When she posts a new selfie, somebody comments white buffalo under it. It's just
really.
Like, yeah, it's like it's the 10 Commandments of Facebook or something. I don't fucking know.
I haven't seen that, and now I'm mad that that's a thing.
Well, when you do find the comment, the irony is that comment will be a great white buffalo, as will that hot 30-something-year-old coming into her own again, rediscovering a newfound respect for her body and a love for herself.
Yeah.
Ooh, divorcee will also be a great white buffalo.
Literally just because of that, the gesture. Welcome to the Cynical Nerd. My name is Chris. We have things to discuss. We have one very big thing that we're going to wax poetic about for probably a decent chunk. We had to cut our Mandalorian penultimate episode deep dive last week a little short, and we will not be doing that today because there is so much cum power between the three of us. Maximum. The hubris of Tom Hanks knows no bounds. This week on The Cynical Nerd. I'd like to thank you guys for coming. This is episode 13. I think I have the title already. I will show it to you guys later. I'm going to show it to you before we start the breakdown of the episode.
Okay.
All right. into it.
Okay. Scott knows what it is. He has not seen the artwork that I created for you last night because I couldn't help myself after he laughed as hard as he did while he was streaming. Speaking of streaming, all of us are streamers, and you can, you can find us. I guess we'll do some early shilling, and then we'll re-shill at the end. You can find us on various platforms. I am TCN Plays on Twitch and Twitter. Scott, where can we find you?
I am Swearwolf on twitch.tv/Swearwolf. That's Swearwolf the knee, y'all. SWEARWOLFE. Also, I just like to say that the comment thread where the shilling in the name of continued on Facebook was one of the highlights of my entire week. My only regret is that I slept through most of it, and it had to be that guy who commented 5 times in a row to get all mine out after it was already over.
Shilliam H. Macy.
Oh my God, yes!
Shilliam H. Macy was great. Yeah, that was my personal favorite, I have to say.
You.
I just like to say though that also I'm glad that we're not bitching out on this one. You're like, remember all those pussies that built buildings in like the mid to late 1900s? All those iron workers who like were boozing it up 5,000 feet in the air, but they still couldn't name a floor, the 13th floor. This is our 13th episode. It's not our 14th episode.
Oh, okay, I'm with you now. That's.
This is what I was about
really had us hanging on by a thread for a second.
I was really about to just give like an anti-union speech for like 45 minutes of the podcast.
Derek and I were both like, what's he gonna do here? Where's this going?
No. I have iron workers in my family. They drink. They're cool. They're fun.
Derek, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Dr. Gloom MD. That's DRGLOOMMD.
Nice. Normally, I would not shill this early in the episode, but that transition, it was such a good segue.
King right into,
right. God damn it.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got some news to go over. Not as much, and no news segment probably will ever top last week's news segment. Well, maybe Comic-Con next year when people are allowed back in the same fucking building.
People are allowed to make eye contact again. We'll see what
exactly.
happens.
This news segment is much shorter, much more what's the word? Succinct. Sure, that works. And then we have 3 main topics, really just 2, because one of the main topics is like an offshoot of the Mandalorian, and then we all watched Tenet. Derek and I and Scott. Derek and I suffered through it recently. Scott rewatched it, right? You rewatched it yesterday.
I saw it once when it came out in theaters. Derek,
right? In theaters.
In theaters. But I also have rewatched it like 3 times in the past 2 days because
why?
Oh no!
Because I wanted to try to. I wanted it to make sense. I wanted it to make sense in some way that wasn't just like exploitation or like what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, man.
I have no idea. I can only agree that I think everybody can relate to that. Everyone wanted that to make sense.
Well, yeah, because like you get to the end and you're like, oh, like that made no sense. It must be because I was thinking linearly. Like, and you're not supposed to think. Like that's the whole thing. It's like stop thinking in like lateral time, and then like you watch it again and you're like, oh, this still doesn't make sense. So then you look up the synopsis. For the end for the very like just to read about the very end, like that little part where there's like 18 Robert Pattins and like what the fuck happened here, and even the synopsis is just like it's like IKEA
doesn't help.
It's like IKEA furniture instructions. You just skips over that entire part of the movie and tells you like what happens after that. You're like, okay, so I don't have a learning disability. This is just stupid. Okay, cool.
No, Scott. It's not time travel. It's reverse entropy.
Yeah, they're inverted. Okay, there's a difference.
Yeah, but they're using it to time travel. But also, like they're not dodging any of those. Like they're not answering any questions about time travel while also time traveling in the most inconvenient way possible. They don't establish the rules.
You gotta
make
it all the way back there. Run backwards to save your family. Oh, cool. Yeah, real interesting concept, Chris. Thanks for that. My God. Can we just do it now? I can't wait. Can we do it now, please? I know it's for the end.
I was going to say, do you want to switch? Do you want to just get in on it now?
Just do it now, please.
All right. Do you want to, you seem like you're reared up. Do you want to just keep going?
Me?
Or do you...
I'm gonna keep going. This was the stupidest fucking movie I've ever seen in my entire life. I wanted to like it. I wanted to, right? Because I started off watching Christopher Nolan films when I was 20, when like you think you know what art is, and I loved them. I thought they were so deep. Eventually you grow up, but sorry.
Asterisk. Memento, fantastic.
Memento is great.
Prestige, pretty fucking great.
Prestige is pretty good.
I feel like he's slowly, while he's doing this, there's a graph out there somewhere with an X where his pretentiousness is continually going up and the quality of his films is continually going down. And that's like we've hit the end of the graph where he's a max pretentiousness with a shitty dog shit fucking film. And I will let you continue now.
That's what I was going to say. One of the main points I wanted to make was this. When we talked about The Lighthouse, one of the things you guys said, which I do not disagree with, is that it's a pretentious film. It is. But like my definition of what's like this perfectly encapsulates a fucking pretentious director. They have this whole like time travel system that's not like meant to be left up to interpretation.
No. Not time travel.
Inversion, time
reverse entropy on the objects. It's right. Time, I'm going to correct you guys every time you fuck it up.
Yeah, please do. It's very important that I remember, these plot lines that are totally going to retain in my memory beyond 48 hours. I don't even remember one character's name from the movie, and I just watched it yesterday. But anyway,
his name is just the protagonist. He doesn't have a name.
Is that his name? Are you kidding?
Nope.
They never mentioned
it. He refers to himself as the protagonist in the beginning and the end. And no one ever calls him by his Christian name the entire time. So when you go on IMDb to look up the synopsis to find out whether or not you have like a massive head injury that you forgot about, which is why you can't retain any of the information in this movie, you'll find that under William's character, it just says protagonist.
Nice. I mean, I do have a massive head injury, but it's because of this film. Yeah. So really, we're stuck in a time loop where it's, did I have...
Sorry. Inversion, Chris.
Inversion. Chris, yeah. Please stay within the lore. To make this whole system of time inversion, okay? And to like just never explain it. Just to go like, actually, we don't understand it. So you, the viewer, you fucking figure it out, asshole, is the laziest fucking thing in the world. I knew in the very beginning when the woman's like, don't think about it or don't try to understand it, just feel it. I was like, fuck this stupid ass movie. I know they're never going to explain how this works or why and for what reason and who. And like, does anybody know what anybody's goal is? Like any one character, like what was their thing that they needed to achieve within the confines of the movie? I have no idea.
The bad guy, the guy who was like, let's be honest, like a shitty James Bond villain.
Oh, very shitty.
From fucking like 1974, 1976. It was basically Dr. No, right? For like, but they did that trope that I don't know if it came from a Bond movie or not, but the dead man switch. We all saw Spawn and we all thought, is that Martin Sheen? How the hell did he get a role? But then we thought like, but then we thought a dead man switch that like sets off nukes. Oh no, not even nukes, but climate change bombs. So like, fuck, really? Somehow this is dumber than that because all these pieces, all these giant boxes from the future, keep in mind that we have chips you can implant in a human heart that'll keep it going that are like microscopic at this point in time. My phone gets smaller every year while all you assholes buy the new bigger iPhone. But still, I don't. They send back these giant honking beepers where you need like 16 of them or 14 of them, and each one just holds one line of code to invert all of reality.
It's analog, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know analog has made a comeback, but like in the future, are we really gonna go back to like hard like flash drives the size of an Xbox Series X? Like, are we really?
Like the shit that they sent to the moon. Yeah,
really, what we're saying is these guys are basically hipsters, and they're the calls for the end of the world because this is the vinyl version of what MP3s are. But yeah, exactly. They're like
just has more texture.
They're like no. No, you don't understand. It just sounds better when you're playing it in an open room on the record player. Look, I got this thing. Yeah. It's an algorithm, and it was so stupid.
It was so petty. It was so petty, dude. Like he was like, I have pancreatic cancer, probably from working in with all that nuclear fallout back when I was like 20-nothing years old.
Could be.
But instead of having someone go back to change my living habits or maybe get a screening in my late 20s or something. I'm just going to die, but because I have to die, I'm going to take all of existence with me.
It was the weakest supervillain it's like shit that when you were 6 years old, you were like, oh, wow, of course he's going to die. So he wants everyone to die. It's like you believed that nonsense when you were a kid, but like there's none of that holds any water whatsoever. And even like he had a kid, doesn't he say something like, well, what about your son? oh, well, my greatest sin will be bringing about the end of the world with my son, but I think God will forgive me. I'm like, really? You just go right to that? You think he's going to forgive you immediately?
Yeah,
like, you didn't
good,
even think about it for a second?
Yeah, he says, my greatest sin was bringing a child into this world knowing that it was going to end. Something like that.
Yeah.
As in he's had this plan for so long. He's known for so long, at least to him, I guess. I don't know how, like, they keep playing on this thing like cycles where Robert Pattinson went through the same battle by inverting himself and then coming back. And it's essentially, there's duplicates of you everywhere. We see that with the warehouse fight, which, by the way, like, this was a cool concept. It was. The idea that there would be a war in the future and they would figure out how to send things back in time. But it was a whole different way. Like, the cars driving backwards is laughable. The guy's
so stupid.
The guy's running backwards into battle.
Yeah.
Like you were.
No.
That's
even
what I mean. It was so
things...
high concept and nobody, dude. Like, Christopher Nolan sat in a room full of executives and said, what if we made a movie where bullet holes shoot bullets back into your gun? And, like, no, does he not have anyone close to him to say, like, Chris, lay off the blow, buddy? Like, relax. We can't make an entire 2.5 hour long movie out of that. Nobody said that to him. It's really sad.
I mean, Nolan, you've been sitting in your wine cellar for too long, sipping wine, watching your own fucking films on a castle wall. Like, we get it. You're fucking full to the brim of pretentiousness. The cars and the running were one thing. Whatever. Kind of cool sometimes to see that stuff. And then you see them fight through the hallway when he's scooching up the fucking
like a dog trying to scratch his back on the carpet.
Yeah.
I wish I was in the fucking room when they shot that scene and Nolan was like, yes, that's appropriate. That's appropriately badass. People will really like the way he looks when he's...
I feel like you're doing an impression of Count Noloff right now. Just fucking like
Count Noloff. Yeah. One, two plots.
I was thinking Count Olaf meets Nolan from Series of Unfortunate Events, but also yeah.
I do a mean Count impression, so I had to just whip it out.
Pretty good.
Thanks. I don't know. I have so many problems with this film. Oh, it's hard to form all of my problems into proper sentences. The writing was the thing where, like, you can tell. So the bad guy, right? We talked about his laughable, like, kind of bad guy scheme. There's a point.
Nobody knows anybody's name. The bad guy, the chick.
Yeah, I don't fucking
Robert Pattinson. Nobody knows anybody's name.
There's a part in this film where, for at least 15 minutes, I thought he might have been written well, and it's the part when they're on the yacht. And, he's like going to come kill her. He's like pissed off at her. And she's like, no, you can't, blah, blah, blah. And somehow they wiggle their fucking way out of it in the plot, machinations. And he goes, if I can't have you, nobody can. But he says it. He's a good actor. I mean, he said it in a very, like, hurtful, like, you're fucked up in the head. And now that she's left you, like, you have severe problems and about, like, control. And, what did he say at one point? When he actually hits her, which was painful to watch, and like the arms exchange, and he like comes in and smacks her, and he's like something about the tiger and like I'm the hunter or some shit like that.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I can't remember how it went, but yeah, he sold his lines well. I mean, everybody acted it pretty well except for the protagonist. But I didn't really dig his, but.
Immediately after that, when they kind of unveiled his dead man switch, I was like, oh, fuck you. Like, you could have left him an interesting person and not done that. I don't know. The whole thing felt like smoking gun pretentious. The whole like Scott said, like the whole like everything goes back to the beginning in every way. So like we see the guy in the immediate scene of the film with the little orange tassel on the backpack, and then at the end you see that person dead. And then you realize right at the end that it's Robert Pattinson. So he's gonna go all the way back to the beginning of the film, save this guy, essentially making, I don't know, a fucking loop. I don't even know how that works in the physics of this universe.
Neither does Christopher Nolan. So it's okay.
They explain that at one point the protagonist becomes inverted and goes back in time very, very far. At which point he recruits Robert Pattinson years before Robert Pattinson recruits him, or like they find each other in the midst of this.
Right, so it's an inversion after the inversion. Yeah, to get back to the beginning.
But to me, like, it's okay to tell a story in a non-linear way. But like when it feels like it's 90% exposition, and then you're just showing off that you can do this and do that with like, can you believe that we did this with special effects? Like, yeah, all your movies look great, but this one like is just it's a silly concept to see in some of the ways that it's done.
Yeah.
Like the idea of an inverted pincer movement like that, like a temporal pincer move, that's fucking awesome. But but when you show it, when you break it down to people on foot, it loses some of like the one scene that worked for me in that was when the guy's like hiding in a crack in the wall and all of a sudden the concrete comes flying back in and crushes him. I was like, that's fucking
That was cool.
Yeah.
That's really
cool.
well done. Or like when they time it perfectly so that as the building comes back up, it then
They
blows
blow
up
up the top.
and falls back over. Like that was really fucking cool too. Like some of it was visually stunning. I think it was a really cool concept, but it was just executed so poorly.
Yeah.
And some of the visuals were so laughable, like the car driving backwards at like 80 miles an hour. Like,
yeah.
I had one really big issue with it, and I'm glad that I remembered it because I almost forgot to bring it up. And that's as I was watching it, about halfway through this 2.5 hour fucking film, by the way, very long ordeal.
Heavy.
I had to watch it in 3 sittings because I started getting like very angry at it several times. At one point, about halfway through, I realized that the film had literally, and I'm not even exaggerating a little bit, is literally a set piece, then set up to the next set piece, then set piece, then set up for the next set piece, then set piece, then set up for the next set piece, end. And that's the whole fucking film. It's nothing but set piece after set. Like it's almost like you can see the storyboard on the wall that he wrote, and he was like, what's some cool shit we want to do with time?
Yeah.
Sorry, reverse entropy. Okay, cool. Intro scene in the auditorium, car chase scene, shit on the yacht, and battle. And then they were like, just connect them. I don't give a shit. Like, just figure out how we get from A to B to C to D. And we'll loop them. We'll try to make everyone think we're really, really fucking clever, but we won't give them a whole lot of details about how any of it works. And we'll just tell them that it's their job to figure it out. Get Robert Pattinson. He's cool. He's a good actor, right? Because he did a good job in this film.
he did.
And we know
most of the cast really did. I mean, most of the actors were like pretty good. But no, I agree. It was so disjointed. It was like there was no reason for like. I mean, you said it. I don't want to repeat what you just said, but it just felt like a fucking jarbled up mess of like he just had like 4 ideas of like, wouldn't it be cool if this occurred in this setting, and had no idea how to connect them. So he just fucking mashed them next to one another.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like what Scott's saying about the exposition. It's like, all right, all of Nolan's films are fucking filled with exposition, but this one's exceptional because in all the other ones, they over-explain. You get to a point where you're 75% of the way through the movie, and they're still explaining. It's like, all right, we get it. Like, just fucking go on with the movie. Yeah. This one was all exposition, and none of it made any sense still. It's like, why at this point do we have to hear characters talk about the movie that they're in when you guys didn't even figure out how to make it make sense to begin with? Like, you might as well just keep it a mystery. It would have been better. Because then we'd have to do all the work and we could come up with our own theories and yada, yada. But you give just enough to make like a schematic, like 4 pieces to a schematic that like don't connect whatsoever. It was fucking terrible. It was awful.
There are a couple set pieces in the film where it actually goes right from the end of action set piece into setting up the next one. It's so frustrating to watch because I'm like, I see what you're doing. Like, I liked Inception. I thought it was pretty good. I hated the ending because Nolan has a penchant for over-explaining things, as you just said, and like, you know, trying to give everyone a happy ending when he doesn't have to do that as a storyteller every single fucking time. Mm. But I don't know. And this one, too, they did the same thing. Even after all the timey-wimey bullshit, they still, at the end, was like, he's going to go back and, like, you know, make sure she's okay with her kid and no one's going to fucking murder them. Like, I don't know.
I mean, Nolan is a hack. Like Inception is just shitty Matrix. It's what it is. Look,
I still liked it though.
I mean, yeah, it was fun. It was like it had, you know, it had some interesting concepts, and like it was cool to see how he played with the idea of like how the world would change around you if your subconscious could feel things like shifts in gravity, and you know, like having Leo dunked into water to wake up, and then seeing how that, you know, how he envisioned, like. Visually, it was stunning, but it's still lazy Matrix. It's still like, I like what he did. How can I do it different enough that I can call it my own movie? Yeah. And with this, we see something that's like, it is completely unique, but it's because no one would ever do this besides Nolan. You know what I mean? And like, and the thing is, if you watch the movie, almost the entire thing from the very beginning to the very end is inverted as well. Like it. Yeah. But they don't go out of their way to show you. Like at one point, he's literally on the boat. in a crate breathing reverse oxygen, which, by the way, that part's fucking stupid. That's fucking dumb.
Oh, and the fire creating ice.
Yeah.
Why? Why would that happen? Why?
The fire and ice thing was dumb, but the air thing was especially stupid because that Nolan was talking to his team and was like, we have to make sure there are visual clues so people know when someone's in reverse and when they're forward. How can we do it? You can't breathe backward. What the fuck? What are you talking about?
How about the fact that every seagull in the sky is flying backwards? That might be a fucking clue, like an indicator that they're in reverse time. Or I don't know, maybe write your script in a way that if they're by themselves having a conversation, it's up to us to do the legwork to figure out what which version we're looking at. Or like I don't write a better movie. I don't know what the fuck to tell you, but you see that scene where they're heading back to the place that he was stationed when he first got dropped off to wait to get picked up. You know what I mean? Like it's they go back, but then there's all these like little subtle gestures to it. But like for a movie that throws things like reverse oxygen in your face to make sure that you get it, they really didn't spend any fucking time pointing out cool little things that they did. Like, oh, this is an interesting little nod to like early in the movie when we were here. Like they don't do anything to indicate how closely it tied together all these events are, aside from like show you like what like there's a windmill. Wind turbine. Remember those?
Fucking windmill.
Man, remember those?
All right. I mean, I don't know. I've had enough. This movie depressed me because of how annoyed I was.
I'm watching
with it
again. I'm watching it again when we're done, boys. I'm doing it.
No, what? Why?
Scott,
Why?
Don't do this. Don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? But why though?
Because I need to figure out how many Robert Pattinsons there were at the end of this movie.
Just count
them. And nobody seems to know. Even IMDb synopsis again. IKEA instructions. We got nothing. I need to know. I need to count I'm going to count Pattinsons until I fall back asleep and fix my sleep schedule. That's what I'm going to do.
It's cool knowing in hindsight that Pattinson got the role of Batman in the Matt Reeves film while he was making this. There were some behind the scenes reports. I don't know if you guys had heard that stuff, that he went to go test for it. And Nolan, because he's a big part of the industry, like it or not at this point, and I'm much more leaning towards not than I used to. I guess Nolan heard word, even though it was a secret, secret audition. And when he found out he got it, I think Nolan had like offered him some fucking words of wisdom, which at this point are absolutely useless because you're a hack. And I can't believe I'm saying that because I always thought he was giving a little too much shit. It's not. No, you could not be given enough shit at this point. Tenet is a garbage film. I'm glad I didn't pay for it. Yeah, I fucking said it, internet.
Yeah,
I didn't pay for it.
Yeah, neither did I. Of course not.
Hard would never pay for it. So look, you didn't lose out because I never would have went to go see it in theaters.
Yeah, if I had to pay for it, I would just never watch it. Let me just say that. Yeah. So you're really not missing anything.
And Nolan being one of the people who's going so hard on HBO Max for their rolled out release plan for 2021. Him like
all them.
Him being like super like anti like HBO Max and saying that it's what did he said something really cunty. But the bottom line is Nolan.
Did he say hello?
The bottom line, Nolan, is your movie was out.
Virtual high five.
Your movie has been out for 6 months now. It's still playing in the movies by my house. It's also available. Really? Yeah, like it's been playing since like a month or so into the pandemic. I feel like, but it's possible that I'm stuck in a time loop that I just don't know it.
No, it got pushed a lot, which makes me mad because now that I've seen the fucking film and knowing that he was fighting so hard for it to get pushed and pushed and pushed. It didn't release until like August or September or something.
Nobody would have seen this either way, Nolan. Like it would have been shit all over by critics and fans alike. COVID's not why your movies are making money. Like
you know how sometimes people go to like Rotten Tomatoes and say like, oh, well, it got this. All you need to know about how you should not use Rotten Tomatoes as a fucking metric for anything is that they gave this like an 80%. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes. Fuck Christopher Nolan. Fuck Tenet. Well, I give this a 1 out of 10. I'm not kidding. I give this the lowest score that you could possibly give it. I hated it.
I give it a 3 or 4 out of 10, only because I did some of the action and visually stunning stuff, like Scott was saying. It was some of that stuff was worth watching because it was fucking cool looking.
Yeah.
But I hated the story. I hated every bit of the story. I'm always one for a good fucking time travel plot. Sorry, reverse entropy.
Yeah.
I cut you off. I didn't know.
No, you're good. I mean, 3 out of 10 probably, like because the story really just it's not there at all. It doesn't exist.
It's difficult to get through.
Yeah, it's hard to sit through. Like I'm doing it again because I'm just a masochist. I need to understand.
Clearly.
I need to
Do you
understand.
jerk off when you do it? I'm just curious.
No.
Is it like a sexual thing?
No, but
every time I've watched it so far, my dick's been soft for hours afterwards. I can't achieve an erection.
You have like ED for like 3.5 days.
I have an inverted erection for hours post.
Your dick goes back in time.
It goes inside my body like a snail.
Not for lack of trying either, Derek. I mean, he's putting clothespins on his nipples. Everything he can do. It's
Ew,
just
that visual grosses me out, and they're my nipples.
Don't touch my nips.
Bottom line, I mean, Tenet 2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes 1 out of 10 because it's really just it's the Yelp for movies, right? Like you're all cunts. Yeah. Nobody who has anything better to do is sitting on Rotten Tomatoes shitting on. I've hated things so much. I spend most of my life, my waking moments, actively hating things. But I've never once written a Yelp review or gone on Rotten Tomatoes and like slammed a movie because I would hate myself more than I hate the movie if I was one of those fucking assholes that took time out of my busy day to do that. And by busy day, I mean like watching TV, even my day off, just jerking one out, just slinging some ropes,
pulling the pud.
Yeah, not. I mean, but you got
pud pulling.
Yeah.
Playing hide the salami. Okay, so the HBO
it's always
Max
in the same place. I always know where I hit it.
Well, found it, you sly dog. I knew you'd be down there again. The HBO Max reference was a fantastic segue to our actual weekend review, which we're going to cruise through now. So the Snyder Cut.
Nolan.
Yeah, fuck you, Christopher Nolan. Zack Snyder has announced on Vero, whatever that social media service is that no one else but him uses. He's
really
targeting
sticking to it, huh?
I don't know if they must pay him for it, but people literally, I think, just use it to look for things that because he drops shit on there all the time, like concept art that's never been seen, behind the scenes stuff. He's targeting a March 2021 release for the Snyder Cut, which is markedly sooner than I expected to see it. I mean, they said 2021, but we know that they just recently did some pickup principal photography. I don't know how extensive it was. They're not really talking about the length of it, but he's got 4 hours to fill. We know that the rough cut was kind of assembled, but not the visual effects had not yet been completed. So according to the post that he had made, they're targeting March 2021. Fantastic. Happy birthday, me. And then their visual effects are around 75% done, according to him. It's just a surprise. There's no news article here. It's just that's when it's coming out. I figured it was worth mentioning because we've talked about the Snyder Cut a decent amount. Right along with that piece of HBO Max news, Game of Thrones spin-off show called House of the Dragon is coming in 2022. We don't know the premise exactly, although you can probably guess what it's fucking about. It's probably about the House of the Dragon.
Yeah, them TJarians.
I gotta admit, the last season, or at least the last half of the last season, left such a sour taste in my mouth
Only
that
the
I
last
don't.
Half?
Yeah, because when it started, I was still the season before it still like colored my. I was like, man, this is kind of bad, but whatever. It would probably pick up, and then it didn't. It went way, way worse the other direction.
Yeah.
I don't care about more Game of Thrones stuff in the universe. I don't. I mean, sure, when it comes out, I'll give it a chance. If the characters are written well, I'll probably be on board. But as of right now, if someone says Game of Thrones shit is coming out, are you excited? The answer is emphatically fucking no.
Absolutely not.
It's such a crazy thing to me that like Game of Thrones was such a huge part of pop culture for so many years, and they botched the final season so much that like the only time I hear anyone talk about it now ever is when it's somebody who hasn't seen it and they're talking about how they just started watching it. I'm like, you almost don't want to tell them. You know what I mean? You're just like, cool, man.
It's better to let them find out on their own.
Yeah. It's like you're the school nurse and someone's grandma died, and you're just like, oh fuck, what do I do?
This is the hardest part of the job. What do I tell this fucking shit?
Your parents are coming to pick you up. Okay, you just wait right here. You don't tell that kid shit.
Don't be here, but don't just stay here.
Yeah, you don't tell that kid a fucking word, dude. I'm speaking from experience. All right. That school nurse didn't tell me shit. I learned the hard way.
Oh, this is a real story. Okay.
Yeah. But also, like it's gone full circle in a non-Nolan pretentious way. And that now, as an adult, I understand what it must have been like for that poor nurse, and I feel worse for her than I do for me. Because like, I'm 6, man. I don't even really understand death that much yet. I'm fine. I'm good.
What if you fucked it up though, and you were like, you're talking and you don't want to, you don't know how to tell the kid, and you're like, your parents are coming to pick you up. I'm not sure why. I mean, maybe it's a surprise birthday trip. Shit. I mean,
damn it. Yeah. And they're like, really?
Is my grandma gonna come? Oh no.
Okay.
Oh god.
So I get final. Any other thoughts on House of the Dragon?
All I have to say is this: like and I promise I'm going to come around to a point with this. I've rewatched the Star Wars the sequel trilogy lately with Veronica. It was her first time watching any of them, and I've found that like when you don't have that like. You're going to see it in theaters and you have all the expectations in the world that they're actually not as bad as they were the first time around. I think we've talked about that on here, so I won't actually go any further down that road. You
said sequel. Do you mean Force Awakens stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
I liked most of. I know they were bad, but I liked most of them anyway.
Yeah, they have really good moments. Like the overall thing isn't so great, but they're not as terrible as when they. I think we all just had high expectations. They're really not like dog shit like they were painted to be. But anyway, that being said, like I rewatched Game of Thrones with Veronica lately, for the same reason. She'd never seen it before. And I'm thinking like, maybe it'll be the same thing. Like maybe it's not as bad as it was. Dude, it is so much worse. It's like, and actually like watching them year by year, you didn't notice the decline as much as when you watch them back to back. Like the decline in that show was way before season 7. It was like season 5. It started to get like, all these like super intelligent characters started to do really dumb things for no fucking reason. So
source material.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They ran out of fucking George, they ran out of George's books. But so I feel the same way as you. Like when it's on, am I going to watch it? Of course. But I don't give a single fuck about House of the Dragon.
I feel like you're in an earthquake right now. Your webcam frame is shaking violently.
I like readjusted it because it was like not stable, but now it's like less stable. Like
it's a little wiggle.
I was hoping that your neighbors upstairs were just fucking like animals right now.
They're just ground pounding.
Yeah, just shaking the whole house.
I wish that's what my neighbors are doing, but they're just like doing crack and beating the shit out of each other.
In that order, or can they sometimes beat the shit out of each other first?
I feel like sometimes it's like a crack sandwich, like crack, beat the shit out of each other, crack.
Crack sandwich. Yeah. A double decker.
Oh, God, I miss living in Philly, man.
No, you don't.
Okay, so we have one more piece of HBO Max related news before we move on. So this is a nice piece of goodwill, and I guess it's appropriate for the time of year it is. HBO Max has announced that they will be removing Chapelle Show from their streaming service as requested by Dave Chapelle at the end of the year. So come January 1, you will no longer be able to watch that stuff on HBO Max. One of the executives at HBO Max put a statement out and said, we had a conversation with Dave. I won't get into it, but it's very clear that it's a very unique and specific and emotional issue he's got. So at the end of the year, December 31st, we're going to honor his request and take the show down. All I can say is HBO Max, you are just continuing to turn me into the shill you never asked for, but will never lose.
Shill Burr over here, huh?
Oh, damn. We're still going. Week 2.
Yeah. It's just a classy move. They're a new startup service. They didn't have to do it contractually. We all know that by Dave's speech called Unforgiven, which was a fantastic monologue he gave. Yeah. It's not even funny, but it's riveting. The whole thing is, he could tell me the story about how AIDS came about, and I would just be, yeah. And then what happened, Dave?
He's a great storyteller. He really is.
He's a fantastic.
I feel like the story of how AIDS came to be is the one story I don't want him to tell me. It's like,
almost literally anything except that.
Yeah. And then a prostitute spit in a married man's mouth, and he went home and kissed his wife.
It's like, maybe I do want him to tell me that story.
Oh, Dave.
I like where this is going.
I mean, clearly
sounds kind of hot. Is that weird?
That's not how it started, but that's how it spread.
Yeah, this is just an all-around classy move by HBO Max. I mean, they didn't have to do this. Like I said, they're a newer service. They do have a lot of nice things coming down the pipe. Yeah. So I don't know. It just gives me confidence, a little tinge of optimism in an otherwise absolute dog shit year. And obviously, there was probably a lot of public pressure after Dave Chappelle's speech. So I'm not just saying they did it out of the kindness of their hearts alone.
No, I mean it's definitely a reaction to Unforgiven. You know what I mean? Like, because he literally says at the end, he's like, you guys are going to pay me what you owe me, or I can take it. Like, the whole thing comes full circle.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that's why he's such a good fucking orator, dude. Love it.
He's one of like you said it, man. Like it's just he's an entertainer through and through. He's an interesting guy. He's so intelligent and so well spoken. And like there's been a few times where he's released like not even political, but like social commentary videos recently, where it's just him talking about about current events, things that have happened, and talking about his own personal life. And you always find yourself just enamored by it. I mean, just hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah. After George Floyd, he had the one, I can't remember. It's called like 846 or something like that. Where like, the way people were posting about it on Facebook, I'm like, oh, he did a random stand up out of nowhere. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll watch it. And there were almost no jokes in it. He was just talking about like police brutality and his experience with it and his thoughts on it. And it's like, you really do. Like, he's just one of those people. He's so charismatic that when he talks, you just stop everything you're doing and listen. He just has that voice. He has that way of talking, these cadence to his words. He's very like, you're like magnetized by it.
Yeah.
And I think people realize that like a lot of people, multi-generationally have a lot of respect for him. So it's kind of like, you don't want to be the new up and coming streaming service that pisses Dave Chapelle off. So of course there was public pressure, but I agree. It's still with all these like grimy moves from corporations. I'm not going to complain when one of them does something that's pretty cool thing to do. So
yeah, nice little above board move there from them.
And to shift it somewhere a little bit more positive, to close it out, in that video that we're talking about, Unforgiven, Dave does hint at the idea that he's been kicking around to redo or reboot Chappelle's show under a different name. Under a different name, because Comedy Central and Viacom, the parent company, own his name and likeness, apparently, for TV.
And perpetuity throughout the universe. Yeah. Don't forget.
Yeah, perpetuity.
All right. So moving on, we have some fucking dog shit news to cover, and then we'll keep going. They apparently someone somewhere thinks that it's a real good idea to remake Revenge of the Nerds. And I don't know why. That film was
the magnum opus of rape culture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie is not good. And more so, was it not like this cultural touchstone that some people have tried to relate to me that it is? It also has not aged well, even a little bit. They do some real off-color shit in that movie for laughs.
It's Animal House for rapists, is what it is.
Yeah,
like it's like,
not.
There's literally like rape in that movie, but they make it off like it's a sight gag. Like she doesn't know who she's fucking. Well, then you're raping her. Let's bury that one in a vault. Like better yet, let's bury that one below an abandoned Russian town. Set off a bomb in reverse so that no one will ever find it again, unless they search. Yeah, unless they search before you get it in reverse time.
No.
I don't.
You weren't supposed to understand.
Yeah.
So look, let me be clear. They obviously, if they're remaking it, they're not going to take all those terrible off-color jokes and put them in it.
Yeah.
This is being made by Seth MacFarlane.
Oh God.
Who I hope is not actually in it because he loves to put himself in all the fucking movies. It said executive producer, but I figured he was going to put himself in it somewhere because I don't know. He's Seth MacFarlane. Keith and Kenny Lucas are going to be who will write and star in the film.
Who?
I don't know what these guys look like. I don't know who they are.
Not good.
and to be honest with you, I could have looked it up. I had plenty of time before the podcast, and I care so little about this that I was like, "Fuck that! I'd rather go hobble around the fucking house with my gimp foot."
That was my exact experience. I was like, I should probably look them up before we do this. And I was like, I don't care.
So the thing, not only do I think the original is not worthy of a reboot or a remake, but they said that they will be doing a contemporary reimagining. That's a word. Reimagining that will, quote, pontificate about today's nerd culture and what even constitutes a geek in the 21st century. That sentence has so much cringe in it that it might as well be the fucking writing in the movie Tenet. Like, what nerd culture and the I even hate saying it because
nerd culture is the worst. I know. I was going to say, stop saying it, please.
What?
It's so the superhero genre, as much as
it's just
Derek may hate it. Yeah, exactly. Is so it has just fucking made its way throughout the entirety of pop culture. It is everything now. There is no such thing as nerd culture anymore. Everyone geeks out about Game of Thrones, and to say things like geek out, it's like shut the fuck up. Like people like shit.
Yeah,
that's all it comes down to.
Yeah, like
that's all it's ever been. They were just fucking ostracized for it a couple decades ago.
Yeah,
but now.
Fucking tell me about it, bro. Yeah, being called big gay in grade school is like Star Wars, then having a girl who's like 5 to 10 years younger than you come over to watch Star Wars and have sex in your 30s. It's just like there's got to be some kind of cosmic experience. Yeah, there's got to be some kind of like cosmic karma. Like, hey man, you really took one for the team back in like 1998.
Now we're gonna give you some bussy for all your efforts. Maybe some thrusy too if you play your cards right.
Ask her to
call you Obi-Wan. Would you like a scotch of thrusy? Come on, get you some thrusy.
I don't know. I don't want to spend a second more on this than we have to. Do either of you have any?
I literally just want to say I can't think of one person who has worn out their welcome more than Seth MacFarlane. Like there's no one that I want to hear about less than Seth MacFarlane. I can't believe he's still a thing. It's like, just go away. Just stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. I hate him. I hate him.
How do you feel about Ted?
It's dumb. It's dumb. I know you're supposed to like it, but I can't. It's just corny to me.
Wait. Let me ask you a question. What about Ted 2?
I never saw Ted 2. Never saw a reason. I saw Ted 1 one time, and that's as many times as I'll ever see it as long as I live.
It's okay. Of the two films, the first one is better, and that's not saying a lot because I don't know. I also am tired of Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I mean, like Mark Wahlberg, I still have a soft spot for. Like, I know I know by all rights I should.
Despite
hate Mark
all
Wahlberg.
the hate crimes back in the early '90s.
Okay,
I should hate him so much. Oh, dude.
Get you some of them Wahlburgers.
You know, Mark Wahlberg like went to the mayor of whatever city he was doing those hate crimes in and was like, "Hey man, I'm an actor now and I have money. Can we get rid of those records?" And he was like, "No, get the fuck out of my city, Mark Wahlberg."
Really? He did that?
That's fucking awesome.
He's like, "I don't give a shit if you're famous. Get the fuck out, Mark."
Piece of shit. Fuck out of here.
That's fucking. Okay. That's awesome. Wow.
Moving along. I have some sad boy news, and it's only sad for the three of us because we remember the first season of this, and there's not going to be a season. So couple weeks ago, as is the case with a lot of our articles, we first brought up that the Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian, was going to be returning for season 2, and Wednesday we had some news that the Disney Gallery Mandalorian season 2 is only going to be a 1 hour behind the scenes special. Womp womp. I'm big sad about that. I was hoping for another 8-episode thing. They were all a joy to watch. All the round tables with directors and actors popping in, talking about the special effects crew. I would have loved to just like give me more of that shit. Yeah. This is cool that we're getting it still, but it's only an hour. It's coming out Christmas Day, so cool. You're sitting around after everybody opens their presents, you pop it on. But I don't know. It makes me big sad.
I'm okay with it, to be honest. Like, I thought that season 1 was really excellent, but I did skim it though. Like, I didn't watch it like front to back. So like the fact that they're like doing another one is awesome because we kind of, but I think like in that article that was linked it said like a lot of the stuff, a lot of the reason that they had like an 8-episode thing, it was like a lot of the technology was new. It's not new anymore. Like we know of it now. So there's just not as much to cover. I get that. It'd be nice if it was longer than an hour, but like I don't mind it not being a whole 8-episode thing. It's not like the biggest boner dethroner to me.
Episode title callback. Yeah. The boner dethroner.
Boner dethroner. I think less is more with this because I mean, like, you see shows like The Talking Dead, where it's literally just an hour of sucking the show that came before its dick every week. And you're amazed that they have an audience for it and that it's on. It's been on, I think, like since season 3, and it's still on. Like it follows. They play a show where they talk about a show, and they play a rerun of that show, and then they play. I don't know.
Is Hardwick still doing it?
I mean, he was, last I checked. But
oh Jesus! Whoa, guys, what about that episode you just saw? Like, get the fuck out of here! I had that conversation with my friends who I actually want to hear their opinions of.
Yeah, but not about The Walking Dead. Never about The Walking Dead.
No, fuck that show.
It's really not much to say, is there?
No?
Yeah, no, there's not. All right, moving along to the next piece of news. So this is surprising for 2 reasons. So 2 stars on the set of Jackass 4. What? There's a fucking Jackass 4? I didn't know this was happening. Did you guys know this was happening?
I had no idea. No.
I mean, if we knew it, let's be real. the eventuality of this happening was very high because they're all getting older and
they all
running
ran
out of fucking money. Exactly. Virtual high five for the second time. They're all getting older. They're all running out of fucking money. And they needed to use their fucking bodies to make more again. So they'll be good for another couple years because all their side projects fizzle because beyond being human trash cans, they have no other real skills in life. And look, Steve-O's turned his life around. I know he's not a drug addict anymore. He's clean. That's cool. His voice is like grating nails on a chalkboard to listen to.
Bad.
His voice is so harsh that it files down his teeth. Like he's
holy shit. His voice is so harsh you can clean out a fucking grimy tub with it. Like he just dumps some Steve-O voice out.
We're talking like steel vocal cords made of steel wool. Like that guy. Oof.
If you murder somebody, you dump some Steve-O voice in the vat with them, and it will dissolve the bones.
You just have them scream at the dead body, and it's just fucking fucking good. That's like the Thanos snap, dude. That's how they did it.
Oh my god, you killed him. Look, so anyway, beyond that bullshit, Bam Margera posted a video to his personal website saying that Knoxville himself and Steve-O injured themselves while, quote, jumping on a full-speed treadmill with band equipment. Okay, well, sounds like a funny thing to watch. One of which was a fucking tuba, and that was basically it. So I didn't know.
Pretty sure it said actually that he signed off by going rock on, which is as embarrassing as everything else that Bam Margera has done in the past 10 years.
That's like the best thing he's done in the past 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, all he's done besides that is become an alcoholic and get fat, right?
And just like sweat. Yeah, it'd be weird.
Yeah, like he's got like the weird alcoholic fat head.
Yeah. The thing is, like, seeing how bad things have gotten for him, like he was on like celebrity rehab and all that shit, like, I'm not really ready to go back and watch him hurt himself for money. It's just going to be sad. It's going to be
feels
depressing.
Fucked up, right?
Yeah, like I mean, I'll pay to watch someone beat the shit out of Johnny Knoxville for 2.5 hours because fuck that guy. Bad grandpa? You made people pay for bad grandpa?
Yeah. I would literally watch him get beat up and just in my head keep going, yeah, this is what you get. Mm-hmm. This is what you get. I'm getting my money's out of you right now.
Class action park, huh? Yeah, well, fuck you, bro.
Oh, fuck that. Fuck shit. It. I didn't even, yeah. Okay, I don't know. Derek, any thoughts about this?
Yeah, the craziest thing about it is that like more of them aren't dead. Like only like 3 of them. Really, like their whole thing is like doing dumb shit. And it's like Ryan Dunn. It's really just a couple of them died. It's like amazing. I mean, a few of them are on their way out, right? Like Bam, he's not looking good, man. That liver can't be doing well. But you know, the thing is, it's like a matter of my nostalgia glasses are on. I will 100% go see this. I loved watching Jackass as a kid. It might be sad now that I'm in my 30s.
Yeah,
it might be
right.
Like, guys, stop. But that's almost more of a reason to go see it, just to like, you know, like. Nobody really got a career out of that except for Johnny Knoxville, and even his didn't last a whole very long.
Yeah, I mean, that's like career. You know what I mean? Like, you have to put the air quotes in there.
He did the movie where he pretended to be a special needs kid. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
I do.
Where they literally stole the script of a South Park episode and made it a full-length movie.
Yeah.
Hey, where you'll remember such well-written jokes as, oh, my Lanta.
Hey, we should have a Johnny Knoxville watch-along party.
No, we shouldn't. No, I don't want that.
I honestly want to watch The Ringer with you guys. Like, I don't know if it would ever be something we could actually show people, but
yeah, it might be offensive just to see us laugh at it. So we'll have to just like be totally stone-faced the entire time.
But that won't be hard though, because I remember it being a joyless, painful experience. If I'm being honest, like I think the only thing funny about it is the desperation in Johnny Knoxville's eyes in every single shot. You can tell that he knows he's made a mistake. He should have at least leafed through the script before he signed on to go full R word.
Yeah.
As we've established in Tropic Thunder, you never go full R word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we should see how well we can do an entire podcast with it on in the background for all of us. It's like a challenge mode. Like, how ignorable is this movie?
That's hard, man.
I'd also like to take a vote that we from henceforth, instead of using I mean, obviously we don't really use the R word as it is, but we could call people TikToks, right?
Yeah, we can call people cool guys if we're Tom Segura's Your Mom's House podcast.
Yeah.
Shout out. He's a real cool guy. Yeah, I'm good with TikTok. Calling people TikToks.
It's done. It's canon.
All right. Next up on the docket, also surprising because, well, for Derek didn't know this was being made. I had heard rumors of it a little bit ago, but seeing this man's face, and he needs no introduction because he's been obsolete from the film industry for over a decade. He hasn't really done anything. But coming to America, and that's coming to numeral to America is happening. The sequel to the original Coming to America, made back in the late 80s, I think, with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, with none other than James Earl Jones as King Joffrey. They are making a sequel. It's coming to Amazon Prime Video because streaming services get everything nowadays. And they've released their first look images from the film. And god damn, Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall have not aged a day.
I genuinely, when you linked that in chat, thought that it was a still from the original movie. I was like, okay, why are we talking about this movie? It's a good movie, but how was that news? Like, I'm not even kidding. I thought that like they have not aged at all. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they both look really fucking good. Like, yeah, Scott, if you're pulling up the article, the header image for the article is the still frame from the movie, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, seriously?
I mean, I think you guys are crazy. I think you're
what?
I think you're crazy. I mean, Eddie Murphy clearly looks like 30 years older than he was in Coming to America.
There's not a sagging wrinkle on that man's face.
Point out one wrinkle, highlight it, and send it to the group chat.
We're not talking wrinkles. He has smooth, almost beautiful chocolate porcelain skin. But you can see in the sunken eyes. You can see.
There's a bit of defeat in his eyes when
you
know what
it
is.
I
see it.
Arsenio Hall looks like he's been trying to get a gig for 20 years. And he's and now that he has one, he's not happy with it. So like, look at that fucking face.
Oh God, you ruined that still for me. You're absolutely correct.
Look at his face. He's like, man, I just gotta get a job. I got all these bills.
He's like, actually, I do have enough money. What the fuck am I doing here right now?
Yeah.
To me, in that still image, they both look like they're maybe 3 or 4 heavy coke parties. Than when the last time we saw them. That's it.
Yeah, they look like they just dabbed all the sweat off their foreheads before someone took a picture. Like they look like they're at the coke party.
That's why he's dressed that way, clearly. Anyway, so this film is coming out March 5th, 2021. You know, maybe it's coming out right around the same time as the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. So that's something that has nothing to do with the other thing. The film is.
You're just so excited about it, though, right?
Yeah, I just couldn't help but mention it again. So here's another thing. James Earl Jones is coming back as King Jaffe? Yeah, Jaffe Joffrey.
I feel like that can't be right.
How? I'm looking at it right now. King Jaffe Joffrey. I mean, how old is he?
I was going to say he can't look good. It's going to be sad.
He's in his 90s.
There's a still of him in that article, and he looks very. I mean, he looks very good for his age, but he is very old.
Yeah, it's like he can't open his eyes the whole way.
He's 80.
It's very sad.
He's 89, so he's
Grandpa's just sleepy, kids.
He made it 12 years past average age of death for men. Good for him, but it's also coming any day now. James, be careful.
Well, I'm pretty sure in the movie, like he passes away and Akeem has to become king. So, I mean, kind of.
Are you saying it would be on brand? It would be okay for James Earl Jones to die because it happens in the movie? Is that the point that you're? No. You know what? Actually, finish your thought. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Please get to the point that you're going to make with that.
What if what if they're hiding the fact that he passed away in the middle of filming?
There's no way they would do that for Coming to America too. I mean, like they did that for Carrie Fisher. Why the fuck would they?
I know they wouldn't do it. This is my Marvel what if scenario.
Okay.
Scenario, whatever. One of them is more pretentious than the other. What if they just didn't tell anybody? And they were like, well, fuck it, we got to rewrite the script because he just passed away. This man's fucking 89 years old. He's like he's like a decade and a half past life expectancy for African American males and just males in general because we have a shitty lifespan. It's impressive.
That's what I'm saying. He's going. He's gonna.
He's almost weak. He almost looks weak at Bernie's that picture. Like someone's holding his eye.
Yeah, he's popped up, man.
What do you think his secret to longevity is, though? Because he's a heavier set man.
Having a great voice. That's what does it. Just boom. Just that booming. Just the bass underneath there. Just sustains him. It lifts him up, as well as the rest of us.
That explains nothing, though, because Steve-O would have been dead in his 20s. We've already covered that.
His voice is somehow deep and shrill at the same time, though. It's like makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. His voice contradicts itself.
Do you think that Steve-O knows that... Never mind.
No, okay. These are always the best. Please continue.
Yeah. It's got to do with drugs, I think.
Do you think Steve-O knows that Bam Margera wishes it was him?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he goes to set every day. It just hit me like it's for a second wave.
Like, I think every day I drive Lincoln Drive every day, man. I get it. Like Ryan shouldn't have been driving, especially not drinking on Lincoln Drive. But Steve-O climbs billboards and staples shit to his dick. So like, how the fuck did he outlive anybody? Doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Every time they meet up, Bam's probably like, just really wish Ryan was here. You know. Just really wish we still had him with us. You know what I mean, Steve? How have you been? How have you been doing? It's real awkward between Bam and Steve.
Yeah, well, especially because like Bam gained a bunch of weight, was on Celebrity.
Is he still a biggin? Is he still a big boy?
He's a biggin.
Yeah.
Yeah. He somehow has aged past Phil, his father. It's real scary.
He has outaged him.
Yeah, but he was on Celebrity. What do they call it? I said it earlier.
Celebrity Rehab.
Yeah. And Steve-O married Kat Von D. Like, what?
Really?
Yeah.
She lets you come in her? Like, I mean, like...
Semite? That's weird of him to do.
Wait,
he's into that.
Is she anti-Semitic?
Oh, big time. Yeah. She, like, left a tattoo parlor where, like, the owner was Jewish and, like, left a signed picture of her that said, like, you're gonna burn in hell, Jew, or something like that. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Really rough stuff. No, I'm serious. Look it up. Did she write
the
note with one of her overpriced, cheaply made lipsticks?
Oh, got her.
Yeah, she's a piece of shit.
She's got to sell that to somebody. Anyway, all right. So, Coming to America has happened. I keep wanting to say Coming to America 2. I'm so glad they did the numeral because Coming to America 2 feels like such a trait.
It's just going to be confusing though, because there's going to be a whole bunch of people who don't know they made a sequel to it. It's releasing to streaming services in the middle of a pandemic. There's going to be like entire generations who don't know this movie exists. And you're going to try to tell them about Coming to America. You're going to have that like who's on first moment with your like great grandmom or someone. Well, not great grandmom. She did. But you're, with an uncle or an aunt or something, or an older guy at work. You'll have that fucking who's on first. No, the guy on first. Who? For like 20 minutes trying to explain that you're talking about a sequel where it's the numeral 2 as opposed to the original that had the same fucking name. It's going to confuse a lot of boomers, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's true.
Bringing up a Marx Brothers joke 100 years later on a podcast was that was a big dick move, I got to say. That was really, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. The Sleepy Sleeveless coming in hot and fresh with that one.
Yeah. Every time I wear this shirt, I'm Sleepy Sleeveless.
Yeah, dude. Alls I will say to wrap that up is that I can't wait to see the shitty ripoff of McDowell's once again, because that was my favorite part of the original. Just his complete brand ripoff of McDonald's was just so funny. All right. Any final thoughts on that before we...
I'm with you. I can't wait to see it. That's it. I loved the first one. I remember so little of it, but I do remember the McDowell's bits. They were really good. So
in any normal circumstance, I would not be excited about this because it feels like a cash grab. But Murphy's been having somewhat of a comeback with Dolomite and a couple other films he's been in recently that have been pretty fucking good. So for all intents and purposes, I'm looking forward to it. All right. So we have 2 more things to talk about. Both of them are controversies. And then we'll move on to our final topics. You got to do jazz hands when you say controversies. Controversies.
Very important.
We do spirit fingers?
Yeah, with spirit fingers. The first is Twitch is outlawing the words simp and incel as sexually disparaging insults. So, clarification, because when I read the headline, I thought they were banned. They're not banned. The words are not banned, but won't be allowed when used to negatively refer to another person's sexual practices. I don't know what the fuck that means. That sounds like some real gray language.
Yeah, it's not a sexual practice to send someone $1,000 and then not pay your rent because your dick's small. That's not sexual preference. It's not. I'm sorry. It's just This is a way for them to like vaguely control language so that people can't be shamed for doing things that are horrifically irresponsible with their money. And it's because naturally a lot of these female streamers and like bigger streamers who have gigantic followings, a lot of their revenue is raised by these simps. And when these simps donate, Twitch doesn't have to pay them as much for, you know what I mean? Like, of course they're going to keep making you advertisement money if other people are just giving them money for free. Why would you want to have a negative connotation on, or a regular, or slang terminology for somebody who dumps all their free time and money into someone that you're profiting off?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's dumb. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just that, like, oh, won't somebody think of the incels? No, why would we? We don't have to. We don't ever want to think about them. I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. It just feels like, I don't even know what it feels like. This is just stupid to me. Like, it's just like coming up with rules and regulations for the sake of coming up with rules and regulations.
Yeah.
It's like a woke move or something. Like, don't worry, guys. We're still thinking of everyone. Like, the fuck are you talking about? Who cares?
It's just so weird because they're not like, so you're allowed to still use this word if you're not using it to disparage somebody.
Yeah,
so it's
but
like
you only can't use it when you're being mean. Like, what? Shut the fuck up.
In what other derogatory term is that acceptable? Like, it's not like you can
sure isn't acceptable with the R word, is it?
Yeah. It's not like you can, like, the disparaging word for homosexuals, it begins with an F that we all are very aware of, cannot be used in normal everyday conversation as long as you're not using it to disparage homosexuals. Like, it's a fucking word that you just don't say. We had to push it out of our fucking out of our society because it's a shitty thing it's a nasty word to use for people. And if you're going to do that for these words, which I disagree with because the word simp and incel is nowhere near that status.
No, there's no.
Then you just got to hard ban them. You don't do a fucking halvesies. You have one toe in the fucking pool. Like, it's cold. I'm going to go get some more swimming trunks on.
You can use these disparaging and mean words as long as you're not being disparaging or mean to anybody. Like, what?
Right. Like what the fuck?
But that's what I mean. I really don't think that these words are disparaging or mean, and it's kind of like insulting to lump it in with things that are really fucking
agreed,
awful
100%.
to say. So it's like, what was the point? I'm assuming like the distinction is like, so you can probably say something like, oh, I don't mean to be a simp. Like you're kind of like taking the piss out of yourself a little bit. But
yeah,
I don't know. It just to even make a rule for it is just it's just so stupid. Like it's just every couple of weeks we have something new with Twitch that's just like, at this point I'm not even surprised anymore. It's just dumb.
Yeah, there's a tweet here in the article that somebody, not sure who he is, maybe he's important, I don't care. The fact that Twitch globally bans the words incel and simp, which is not true. They did not globally ban them, as we just spoke of, but doesn't ban all too common racial slurs and misogynistic terms, says a whole lot, don't you think? Yeah, that's true. So there's a lot of like workarounds to saying some of the most common hate speech that people use all the time on Twitch and other platforms, and they don't dig in on that. It just feels so stupid. And look, I'm on.
Chris, can you say some of those words just out loud, just so I know to avoid them?
I'm good.
Can you? Okay.
No.
It's just, their TOS is Swiss cheese. It makes no fucking sense. And I'm saying that as somebody who also.
That was so satisfying. That was such a great analogy.
Yeah.
That was like.
Yeah. And I'm saying that for several reasons. One, there's a bunch of fucking holes in it, and also. Is Swiss cheese even good? When's the last time you had a piece of Swiss? You're like, fuck yeah! Like it's flavorless garbage cheese. I'm sorry that you like it. If you do, listeners,
Swiss is used well to complement certain things, but never to eat by itself. I would never advocate anybody eat Swiss ever by themselves. It's garbage.
Yeah,
but there are some like sandwiches and stuff. Where I think
what you're saying here is that if you eat it with something that's strong enough to mask its terrible flavor, it's good.
Then it's okay. Yeah.
That's what you're saying. It complements some things. Like no.
Yeah, well, fuck me then, right?
I mean, it may complement some things, but they're like backhanded compliments. Like, oh, I can't believe, like, you pull that off. I could never do that. I would never wear that. You know, like it's Swiss cheese is a country.
You're so brave for
Swiss
wearing
is actually
that.
pretty good when you can't taste it whatsoever or even notice its presence at all.
Swiss cheese is like a threatened cheerleader. Like she's in her junior year, and the new freshmen are kind of like, you know, she's gotta let them know that she's Queen Bee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was a point to this. Fuck. where do we start? Swiss cheese. Their TOS. They don't enforce it across the board. It's different sets of rules for different people depending on how. First of all, how heavily is your stream monetized? How much money can they make off of you? There's been streamers that have literally said the N-word live and not even suffered a temporary ban or anything like that, or even like it's just
or ridiculous. Alinity like throwing her fucking cat across the room. Just like this very different rules for different people.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense because like you said, man, like it's again like there's a lot of the words that are banned in like normal speech, everyday conversation. A lot of words that if you have to say the first letter of the word to say what the word is, you know that there's generations of hate and pain ingrained in that word. You know, like with the F word and the N word, the R word not so much. I mean, still not nice to say. So we'll R word it. You know what I mean? We'll give it that letter treatment.
But simp and incel, baby, no fear. Just send it out. Yeah, I feel like maybe we should all say it one time. Simp, incel. There, I went. Incel. There you go.
Simp for Satan.
Simps for we're old school rock and simp. Okay, you guys are just hopping on the bandwagon now. We here at the Cynical Nerd have been espousing the hate for simps and incels since the beginning. Maybe not incels, but you guys deserve it too.
Yeah.
If they ban furry and weeb, like who will we shit on?
Please.
You know what I mean? Like who?
Please.
Who will
please ban furries and weebs?
What we're saying is this is a safe haven for you can always come to TCN and say simp and incel. We're never going to get mad at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 2/3 of us have girlfriends or wives that we live with, so clearly there's no incel among us. Unless it's me.
And the other one's dipping in strange every other week, so
I don't know about that. These are hard times to be single. I've come to the realization that my only option in my 30s during a pandemic is either to date moms or convicts. It's rough.
Ooh, tough choice. Yeah. Really on the line.
One might say he's making thick in the warm, every week.
I'm sorry, what? Making thick in the warm?
It was a reference to the fucking Netflix show.
I had no idea what you meant, but which is just made it so much funnier.
The Nick Kroll show, the animated one. Fuck, I can't think of the name.
Oh, Big Mouth with all the boy and girl touchers. Yeah. Missed
so
that one. Sorry.
There's a coach there who talks about it like he's a kid, and he goes, "I'm making thick in the warm."
Oh God!
If you haven't watched that show, it's actually pretty funny it's a bonus because you don't have to look at Nick Kroll's fucking face the whole time. You just have to hear him.
But his animated face looks just like his real face, and it's still hard to look at.
True.
Having said that, though, like I tried to watch that show, but it's so weird. Even watching cartoon children talk about their sexuality for a half hour time, I can't do it.
It's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah,
sometimes,
it's really just. The whole gangbang and the pillow thing, I couldn't get past.
Dude, it's so fucking funny, and honestly, I think it's good to have out there. I'm not even saying it like facetiously. It's very unironic. Like to have a show that will openly talk about sexuality when you're a young kid going into puberty, I think can be important for people. People are awkward. It's the conversation no one wants to fucking have, and I don't want to get too deep on this, but. I don't know. The show's really funny, and it's all shit that we all went through as a kid, but never fucking talked about. Yeah. Because who's going to talk about how they tried to fuck their stuffed animal because they were so horny as a fucking 11-year-old or 12-year-old or whenever you first started going to puberty?
I'm sorry. I never did that.
Yeah, well, I just jammed my dick into my mattress. Like I would just press it into it, just for something about the pressure. It was just I don't know.
I never did the whole sock thing because then I would lose a sock.
That's got to be a myth. I need those. Doesn't feel good to come in a sock. It can't. There's no way that feels good.
I mean, I did it once.
Have you ever worn a sock on your hand? Even
right?
Have you ever worn a sock on your hand? Even like wriggled your finger and be like, oh man, that's a weird texture. I don't like that on my fingertips. Why would you want that on the tip of your dick? Why would you want that?
I don't know, because you're a horny 12-year-old looking around the room for places to make fucking coons.
If you saw a vagina that looked like an old sock that you had worn before, there's no way you would fuck that vagina, even as a horny 12-year-old. So what made you put your dick in that sock, boys and girls? Well, I guess boys, because
you just unintentionally made another fucking subgenre on Pornhub. Vaginas that look like socks.
No, I mean it's probably all in the amateur section. If we're being honest, you got to sift through like an old timey prospector.
He's just sitting next to the river of Pornhub, sifting through horrible subgenres. Mm-hmm. All right, I don't know how we got to this point in conversation, but I got to reel us back in. We have one more thing to talk about.
Can I go pee before we do this? Can I?
Okay, sure.
Just get my peas out now.
Yeah, take your potty break.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take my peas.
Hey, Ron. How's it going? What do we have to disparage this time while he's away?
I mean, I think that would be a good time to plug our Ask TCN.
Oh, I agree, but I like to hate something and then plug. I'll start plugging. How's that?
Okay.
So, much like we did at the beginning, we can find all three of us on various streaming services. That the guy who walked away to empty his a very tiny bladder is Dr. Gloom MD on Twitch and Twitter. I'm TCN Plays on Twitch and Twitter. And then we have Scott. Scott, where can they find you?
I'm Swearwolf on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Gaming, but I don't feel good about Facebook Gaming.
No, you don't like it so far?
I mean, it feels weird because like my uncle will be like, "Hey man, this looks like fun." You're like, "Fuck."
Yeah. You're on that's the boomer platform.
Yeah, it really is.
If you have a question for us, you can tweet at us. We are at the Schmeg Nerd, SHMEG Nerd. If you have a question for us, hashtag AskTCN. If you have a correction for us, what's up, Ron? It is if you have a correction for us, sorry, it's hashtag FuckTCN. And we'll be checking those weekly. If you want to email us, you can email us at questions@thecynicalnerd.com. And I think I've plugged all the things. I mean, we have a YouTube channel where we put up the podcast weekly in video format, so you can see all of our faces. We tend to reference sight gags more often, than I expect us to. So watching them on YouTube is a good idea. But hey, morning commute. Can't beat the morning commute.
Yeah.
Every Monday morning, I listen back to myself ramble. It's a good time.
I found myself listening to it throughout the week just to kind of like make sure that I don't hate myself, if I'm being honest. but also like, dude, like there's always at least one or two bangers every week where like one of you guys has me like pulling over on the side of the road and crying. Like there's something Derek said on like I think it's like one of our earlier episodes. He talked about like Colin Farrell. Like, oh, we're gonna make you look like a reheated baconator. You okay with that? Reheated baconator? Like for some way, just like the tone and the delivery of that, the way you said that, just like had me sobbing uncontrollably. Just like trying to smoke a cigarette on the side of the highway, just crying, laughing.
Yeah,
it's my favorite thing.
Getting back into it, we have one more news article, which we're gonna
baconator. By the way, I'd put my penis right in it.
I mean, he's a handsome fella. Even with the no, he's not. Never mind.
What do you think's in the sauce on the baconator? I could never place a flavor profile on that sauce.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I might not love them anymore, and I can't risk that.
It's probably just cholesterol, right? Like they just
cholesterol
they bottle
and
it, they bottle it and just brush it on.
It kind of to me tastes like a Thousand Island dressing a little bit, but there's more to it. It's like it's got like a weird sweet tangy, like it's like they mixed Thousand Island dressing and like shitty barbecue sauce.
Fair,
it works.
Yeah,
fair. All right, let's blast through this big old news article here so that we can get on to our final finale conversation for The Mandalorian. So before we do, boys, there have been quite a hubbub about the release surrounding Cyberpunk. A hubbub.
A hubbub, you say?
A kerfuffle, even.
Ooh, has there been? I've heard nothing of this.
Yeah, there's been quite a lot of...
kerfuffing, Chris?
Quite a lot of, I can't think of another fucking word for it, of, I don't know, strife around...
Hullabaloo!
I was going to say that one. I was like, that's so rare. I feel like even amongst old-timey people, they didn't say hull. They were like, fuck that guy. We used to say hullabaloo. Cyberpunk 2077 has released, and there has been a whole bunch of problems for them at launch. There have been... So apparently the PS4 and Xbox versions don't run very well. To the point where PSN and Xbox have now pulled it off of their stores, which is a kind of a big fucking deal. Mm-hmm. On PC, it is a resource-intensive monster, but it plays pretty well as long as you have a decent computer. For me, it's been running great, but I have a 3080.
Not to brag.
It's just a little humble brag there. There's just a lot to talk about when I mentioned Cyberpunk 2077's release. So, and I don't really know where we want to focus our efforts. There's been there have been released reports, sorry for stuttering there, of the fact that the executives knew they were releasing a kind of a half-baked version. It's the reason they didn't show gameplay on those older consoles. They were always showing PC. However, even as far as when they announced the first delay, they announced to people, they were like, well, the game is complete, but we just have to work out the bugs. And it's like, well, okay. There are developers saying that wasn't true. Like they faced a kind of round table with the developers, and one of the developers said, why did you say that? It was not true. The game was not finished then. We had to go through all this crunch. People feel misled. They feel frustrated. I am very in a weird spot with this article. and I'll go into why after you guys give your initial thoughts on it. But I don't know. I got a little bit of both, a little bit of column A, a little column B here. So Scott, how does all of this hit you and your initial thoughts on the game itself? You did play a little bit of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful game. It plays. I mean, my experience has been for the most part pleasant. It plays smoothly. I mean, I had some issues where my CPU and my GPU are severely overheated since I've started playing it. But I mean, that could be something on my end. I can't really blame that on the game because it doesn't seem like it's using an excessive amount of resources. It doesn't seem like it's really bogging down as much as some people said they've had issues with it. I've only got 16 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm not having any issues or any kind of like slowdown or anything. But I'm also not in highly populated areas. I'm still in the first couple hours of the game. Having said that, I have a lot of issues with it. With the way that the release was handled. It's indicative of a much larger problem with console gaming right now that I think we'll get into eventually. I've seen a lot of people saying, Derek concluded that console gaming needs to die. I think that's too simplistic. I think that there is a lot of pressure that came from the community, from their fan base, that forced them to release a game that was not finished, was not polished, even on PC. But at the same time, CD Projekt Red needs to take responsibility because you can't release a game for last gen or current gen to like sell people something, knowing full well that it's barely going to play on a good 30 to 40% of the consoles out there in the market in that current gen. And it is kind of a weird thing because we're split in this new era where consoles have more of a 4 to 5 year life cycle. We just call the same console with upgraded processors, upgraded graphics cards, something different, but we don't commit to a new console generation. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So I mean,
I mean to go along with that, and I'm sorry to interject, but like the PS4 Pro, by all accounts, and the Xbox whatever XX Triple X, whatever the second version of the Xbox One was, by all accounts, haven't had the trouble that the original PS4 and Xbox have had. It's just that honestly. So it's really just the base models that are having such a hard fucking time with it, and it's weird to me that that's the case because this game has been in development for such a long time that they would have been developing it initially on those consoles. So why is it running so badly with so little A, optimization, and B, just the ability to like turn shit off on consoles if it's running so piss poorly? It's a weird dichotomy between the two. I don't quite understand how it can run so poorly on those consoles when it came out just after the relaunch of the next generation, and it's been in development for 7 to 8 years. It's fucking strange.
It's been 4 years. They announced it 8 years ago, but it's only been in development for the past 4.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But it doesn't negate your point. I mean, it was announced and developed within a console cycle that's still current. So
right. Current.
I mean, let's be realistic. The Xbox was Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro are current gen. Their predecessors that came out 5 years before them are last gen now. We're in this thing where it's perpetually like they need to either make it so you can switch out and upgrade bits and pieces of your console as they did with like the old N64. Remember? You bought that, they had that fucking slot in the top, and if you wanted to play like whatever fucking game it was, I think it was like Star Fox 64
Majora's Mask.
No, it was it was Donkey Kong Country 64. You had to put that the new graphics card in the top. And like, how have we regressed from that? Like Nintendo was the king of revitalizing their consoles at midpoints throughout the cycle, like even 3 or 4 times. The Super Scope 6. You know what I mean? Like they did so many different things throughout the Super Nintendo and N64 era, even GameCube. You know what I mean? Like it's just to me it doesn't make any sense that we're now at a point where you have to buy the same console 2 or 3 times within that 10-year cycle to be able to play.
Stay relevant.
Yeah, to be able to play games that launched for the console you paid for 9 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean that is a huge problem, and that is in part on Microsoft and Sony. Not so much Nintendo, because Nintendo doesn't have a dog in this race, and Nintendo just does their own fucking thing and doesn't give a shit. But at the same time, man, like you have alpha testers, you have beta testers. You didn't have people trying to play it on those old dusty ass consoles. That should have been step 1, is to see what is our bare system requirements to run this game. Will it run on the shittiest Xbox current gen on the market, the shittiest PlayStation current gen on the market. And somebody just didn't do that, I guess, or somebody did and just didn't give a shit about how do you press
right?
How do you press like hundreds of thousands, or like let's say 100,000 physical copies of a game? I'm not sure how many they actually made. How do you press physical copies of a game, mass produce it, and sell it, ship it out to GameStop, knowing full well that half the people who get it, or like even 25% of the people who get it, won't even be able to play it? 15 frames per second.
So that's what, like, that's where there's so many aspects to this, right? There's so many avenues to. So, like, keeping it on just this one thing. First of all, let me just say they shouldn't have released it on last gen. Either A, they shouldn't have released it on last gen at all, or B, they should have, since it works on the more current stuff, and they were pressured to release it. They should have just come out and said, look, all right, we'll release it on the stuff that it works on, but we're going to need time for last gen.
Absolutely, 110%. I thought the same thing when I heard the news.
That should have been the move, and they didn't do that. But that being said, like, you know, there's this idea of like, well, what's their plan? What are they going to do? That I kind of have an issue when people say that, because they have been completely candid about, like, look, they said in their one announcement, we messed up, like we made a mistake. And they rolled out their hotfix schedule saying, like, it'll be ready by this time. But if you don't want to wait, you can get it refunded. I think that they went about things in the wrong way. I'm not like a shill for CDPR. Like, I think it should have never been released on those consoles in the state that it's in, because you're absolutely right. If those were the only avenues that I had was last gen consoles, and I spent $60 on this and it was like unplayable, which it is in some people's case, I'd be pissed off. I'd be super pissed off. But I think that their way of being amenable to that and saying, like, look, we messed up. An update is coming that's going to fix this. But if you can't wait, then, you know, here's your full refund. To me is like, all right, yeah. And then if anything, you can get your refund. And then if you don't, take them at their word, you can get your refund and then wait until that update comes out and then just buy it again with that same money. I think that they handled that sort of backlash as well as they could have, given the fact that they sort of didn't do what they should have initially. Right.
And then so CDPR has always been good to their community, but that in this case does not excuse what the problem is not that you're good at, not the way you handled it after release. They seem to be, by all accounts, consumer in mind, and the kind of forward thinking in that department, where they're not being greedy, holding onto their fucking purses and saying, no, you can't have your money back, or because you played it for more than 2 hours.
Which plenty of studios have done. BioWare did it with Anthem. I mean, just 2 years ago.
And I agree with Derek to a point, but I can't, because they've handled the post-launch fucking shitstorm as well as they have, excuse what they did behind the scenes beforehand, because I had the same exact thought as Derek did, and we hadn't discussed this prior to this conversation, but I was just thinking about the entire scenario, going through news articles, and I was like, well, why didn't they just go, look, the game has grown over the years to be this massive thing beyond the scope of what we even initially had planned, and it no longer runs on these base consoles, and we're sorry, we'll try to optimize it and release it later down the road, but for right now, for the quality that we want to project, which you guys have a fantastic reputation for releasing high quality games, we aren't going to release it on these consoles because it's going to give you a terrible experience that is not what we want to present to you. And that's all they would have had to do. And sure, people would have been mad, but it's either mad or it's unplayable piece of shit. Like 15 frames per second, that's incredibly shitty.
Yeah.
Super fucked. And I'm, again, I said I was on the fence about this, and I am, but not about, it's not so much like did they or do they not do the right thing. Of course they did the wrong thing behind the scenes.
Well, accountability makes you a giant pussy, to reiterate.
Yeah. Oh, the callbacks, boy. I like that we're getting so deep in our archives here that we just call back to callbacks here.
Yeah.
But it's like it's hard for me to get super mad at them because I personally haven't had anything but great times with the game.
Good.
And I don't know how else to fucking say that. I didn't want to say that because it basically makes me the person that, like, this is not my views.
It makes you,
it's basically
the worst. Like it
basically makes me the white person It basically makes me the white person who says, I don't think racism exists because it doesn't happen to me.
What?
Like, and I get like I prefaced, it's obviously not the way I feel. And I understand how those two are related in theory. It's just really hard for me to get mad at them because I've had a good time with it so far. Like, the gunplay is fun.
So what you're essentially saying is every cop that's ever pulled you over has been like a cool dude, and you guys talked about how you played guitar in high school and shit. Right? Is that what you're getting?
No, I've actually had some dickhead cops, but they weren't. But the important thing was they were not dickheads to me for the color of my skin, and that's why I've had privilege my entire life. But that's not what we're getting into right now.
Let's get into it, Chris.
For the sake of the joke, the analogy works, but it's not actually like I just don't think to say like, oh well, I planned ahead of time and I bought a PC, or I happen to be one of the people that got a PS5, and so you happen to have one of the 7 out of 9 platforms that had a great release. I don't think that you should feel bad for the fact that you saved that money to buy that system that runs it great. I'm not saying I don't feel bad for the people who can't play it, because I do, but at the same time, like, I don't think this is like, I'm not lighting my pitchfork. I mean, how many I said that earlier too. That makes no sense. You either light a torch or grab a pitchfork. You don't light a pitchfork.
No,
you can have a hybrid, man. Like the gun blades from Final Fantasy VIII. Like maybe it's a pitchfork and a torch.
I'm gonna convince Ron to put it on your tombstone. Forever lighting his pitchfork.
Lighting my pitchfork in the sky, right? I think that PC has gotten so many shitty ports that, like, the developers, which are not just small time guys, like fucking Rockstar has given us PC ports that are awful. And not only do they not communicate with PC gamers whatsoever, they just never fix it. And so you spent full price on something that doesn't fucking work, and nobody's filing a class action lawsuit against them. Like, it's just, they came up with a plan. They fucked up. I'm not saying they didn't fuck up, but they laid out their plan. Here's how we want to fix this. But if you don't want to hang out for it, here's your money back. I just don't see. I feel like that's the best way to fix their fuck up.
Yeah.
And so the fact that this class action law, like, I thought it was going to end with that, but then the lawsuit, I'm like, come on, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's more investors that are like that have put bank into this, and now they're seeing their stock tank. Like this. I mean, like we talked about it before in the podcast about how like they were anticipated to have a net worth of $556 million by the end of this fiscal year. And you gotta imagine this is putting a dent. We're probably talking hundreds of millions of dollars off their stock value, or their the value of their company as a whole. And dude, like, if I was an investor, I'd be fucking furious too, because this is something like this is something where it's mismanaged. It's all it is. Like, I would have rather had this game come out next year and be completely bug free on PC.
Everyone would have. Yeah. Everyone agrees with that. Well, everybody with a brain, anyway. Yeah,
I would rather had it only come out on next gen consoles, like Xbox Series X and PS5 as well. Like, it doesn't need to be like. Again, it's accountability makes you a giant pussy, but it's the only way to do good business.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with the investor thing. So the laws. That's kind of, again, another kind of reason why I said I was on the fence, because yes, they fucked up. We're all in agreement. They made terrible decisions behind the scenes to release this game that does not run on consoles they said it would fucking run on. But I also agree they've handled the post process well, and the class action lawsuit feels kind of over the top. It's like bad decisions, but also overreactions on the other side. And I don't know. I mean, if you look at the actual verbiage for like what it takes to file a class action lawsuit, yeah, I mean, disguising or lying to the public for financial gain. Yeah, that's kind of what they did. They lied about the state of the product because they didn't want it to hurt their launch sales. And while I do think the lawsuit is a bit frivolous, I mean, I don't know. It was a really shitty way to handle the launch. I'm disappointed because I felt like CD Projekt Red was like that one like golden goose developer who was still like just fucking perfect in every way. And it turns out you pull the curtain back and they've just got the one tooth clinging to life and everything else is garbage. It's like
the Wizard of Oz, but instead of like being back there like pulling strings, he's just cranking out a mean, angry rope. You know, he's just like just mad. Like
just one rope. Yeah, just one comes out.
We talked about before, like Danny DeVito is angry in his cock, just going at it. And I mean, I completely like class action lawsuit. If it was people who like couldn't play the game, I'd be like, fuck you, shut the fuck up. I get it.
Yeah, because they offered you your money back.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's like,
I mean, I get it, but the thing is, when it's people who invested millions and millions of dollars, my first gut shot reaction would be like, fuck them, eat the rich. eat shit, suck a dick. Like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, if I put $10,000 in Disney stock and it tanks for whatever reason, I'm out that fucking money. It's a gamble. Investing is legal gambling. Welcome to commerce, dickhead. How are you a millionaire?
Welcome to Earth.
Yeah, welcome to Earth. How are you a millionaire? How do you have money to throw at CD Projekt Red? You have tens or hundreds of $1,000s to invest, and you don't understand how the investment process works.
Yeah.
I mean, but also at the same time, no.
But it's like the same thing happened on a much smaller scale with The Witcher 3. Witcher 3 was a buggy fucking mess when it released. And now it's regarded one of the best games of all time.
I'm glad you brought that up because I almost forgot that. Lest we not forget, upon launch, Witcher 3 was a shit show. Just like, I wouldn't say as bad as this, but it was pretty bad. It was a lot of people who were not fucking happy with the release date of Witcher 3. And I don't know. I would say let's try and do final thoughts because I feel like we're just kind of saying the same shit in different ways at this point. But Scott, please.
Was The Witcher 3 released primarily on PC at first, like just PC at launch and then ported later?
That was PC and Xbox and PS4.
Did they have issues with all the platforms equally at launch, like just buggy? Like, are we talking like Bethesda mess? Because every Bethesda game is an absolute shit show at launch, and then like even years later, bugs pop back up again. Like you can't finish a quest in Fallout. I never finished Fallout 3, boys. I got to the last quest and it glitched. Never beat Fallout 3. I just watched the YouTube. I watched YouTube videos. I wasn't gonna put another 80 hours in that fucking game that stole the.
Yeah. Oh, Liam Neeson's soulless voice acting didn't just inspire you to come back and do it again.
The only thing that brought me back was detonating the nuke in Megaton and sitting on that balcony with those faceless monsters and sipping a cognac. That's the only reason I came back.
Classy.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Derek? Anything else you want to?
I love this fucking game, and I'm sorry that it had the release that it had. I think it's all going to come around. I think that by the time that this lawsuit makes it anywhere, they're going to have fixed everything that went wrong. I hate that the model of gaming now is like release it and fix it later. But that's, when you have people fucking banging at your door to release it, eventually you got to fucking release it or the investors are going to bail anyway.
Right.
I feel like they were doomed either way because people were screaming for them to release this game.
Yeah, you got people beating down the door with their pitchforks lit. You know what I mean?
With their lit pitch, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
I think it's an excellent product, though. If you have one of the 7 out of the 9 platforms it released on that. It had
I like that you said that because it was such a backhanded factoid. Earlier I was like, ooh, okay, he did that. If you have one of the 7 out of 9, I was hoping you would give me a percentage there too. I also have liked it mostly just because I love the world it's trying to build for me and around me, and I love good storytelling. But please, boys, can we please talk about Mandalorian? Because I want to talk about it so bad.
Yeah.
And I'm ready. We've already shilled for the podcast while you were taking your pee break. Well,
you said that like a young, fresh-faced porn star. Like, I want it so bad.
Yeah, I do.
I get in the pussy now.
Please give me that Mando puss, okay? Mando bros. So this week we got the pleasure of watching the Mandalorian season 2 finale, and boy, was it just a joy, just all around,
there it is.
All around.
I felt like
just every Tim. I'm gonna do every Tim. I'm gonna do a real
Tim
brief,
Allen, Tim Dillon.
Every Tim.
I
cry every Tim. I'm gonna give a real brief overview of the course of the episode, and then we'll do thoughts, and then we'll do our deep discussions about things that got us rock hard, aka the whole episode.
Yeah,
so
start to finish.
This episode was called The Rescue. We knew what was going to happen. We knew they were attempting to wrest baby Grogu from Moff Gideon and his Legion of Dark Troopers on his light cruiser. The episode starts off immediately with them chasing down a Lambda-class shuttle to find Dr. Pershing, have a really cool opening scene with these dickheads who try to sympathize with imperialists who died on the Death Star. Sorry, fuck those guys.
Yeah, they tried.
And Cara Dune has a really cool line about which one. And he was like, ooh, got me. He was like, take me to the burn ward on that one. And then they use the shuttle to stage an awesome, we need rescue, we need help onto the cruiser itself to gain access. Not only using the shuttle, but they use the shuttle to block the launch tube so further ties can't be launched. Boba Fett pieces the fuck out because we don't have enough time in this with all the cool shit that's about to happen to have him play a part too and have character development. They work their way through the ship. Mandalorian has a fight with Moff Gideon, as we expected, using the Beskar spear versus the Darksaber.
Yeah, we called it. We called it here on TCN.
Right here. Only place that fucking called it. Everyone else had it wrong. I don't know what you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
And let's just say the fight, I thought if that was the finale, that fight was great.
It was pretty good.
The choreography was fantastic. The whole like Darksabers boogeyman thing where one of them gets his hand through and pulls it open Terminator style.
Yeah.
Watching it beat his fucking helmet into the side of the wall. Ooh, so juice. Just juice. Maximum juice.
No pulp.
But I'm getting into the weeds. I'm trying to do overview. They get to the bridge. They have a standoff at the bridge. They are holding Moff Gideon. He tries to kill Bo-Katan with some sneaky laser blasts. And just as things look lost because the Dark Troopers have come back and are descending, somebody shows up. And the way they did this reveal, and I'm going to talk about this for just a minute, and then we'll do overall thoughts, was, I think, the best. And I think everyone feels about the same about this because it was a slow reveal. We've talked about this. We talked about Luke was the obvious choice for a couple weeks now for who was going to respond to Baby Grogu's calls. And I'm pretty sure all of us said we didn't want it. And guess what? We all fucking loved it. I'm pretty sure we all fucking loved it.
Yeah.
The whole time I was like, when I realized they were doing it, I was like, well, here I am, man, a Star Wars shill again, because I'm so happy to see this motherfucker. They do this really interesting.
I just want to say that was my exact reaction. I was like the whole time, like, don't be Luke. And then as soon as I saw the black robes, I was like, I'm okay with this. This is okay.
The second I saw him do the X-ray, I was like, oh my god, no fucking way.
Yeah.
I was literally sitting right here in my chair, and I hit record on my software so I can like record my reaction to it. I watched it back, and no one can ever see it. It's so like,
oh no, you got it.
Please send it to me.
No.
I promise I won't
picture of him crying.
I won't post it anywhere. I promise I won't post it on YouTube. So they did this really cool kind of slow reveal where, we all know Luke flies an X-Wing, but it could have been anybody. Obviously. So you see the X-Wing, and I was like, no fucking way. And then you see the black robes, and I was like, okay, Chris, now they might be trying to pull a bait and switch. Anybody could be in black robes. And then they pull, and this is when I knew, without a fraction of a doubt, they show the one gloved hand.
Yep. Yeah.
And you see the belt buckle, like the plain, just silver belt buckle on the black. And I was like, ah! I started screaming and crying at the same time. I think I might have farted and peed.
He's still wearing the same outfit he had on at the end of Jedi. It's crazy.
I wonder if he's showered.
He's got like, he's like Hey Arnold or Doug. He has like a whole closet full of the same outfit.
and we are. I loved that episode, by the way, because when I was a kid, it was like mind blowing. I was like, cartoon characters always wear the same shit every single episode. They never talk about it. So they proceeded to give Luke his Darth Vader Rogue One hallway scene where we get to watch this man at the prime of his Jedi power just fuck up these Dark Troopers. And it was so satisfying. I was, and I've talked about crying before as a joke and unironic and ironic, both ways. I was full on sobbing. I posted a picture of it to you guys. I think I put it in my fucking Discord. I'm
waiting for you to give me permission to post that to Twitter and to continue editing it and post it to Twitter. I'm not going to do it without your permission. So you just let me know. Twitter's fine. Facebook is not. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Too many coworkers.
I really just want to see more doinks being slumped.
Yeah, he's going to be slunking some doinks.
Yeah. You could also Photoshop a glory hole in behind him. Like, he's just so excited to see what's going to come out of it.
Yeah.
And Timothy Oliphant is the top of his face.
We all know what's going to come out of it, Scott.
Is it big old Timothy Oliphant cock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, right. Absolutely. I just, the whole, so obviously I was crying with happiness. I was like, like that kind of ugly crying. And then I'm watching them have a conversation, which was the only bad part of the episode. And I'm like crying happy tears. And then fucking R2 shows up and it put me over the I was already dangling over the fucking precipice. And I was like, because they're bros. And this is when you're a kid and you see Return of the Jedi and the movie ends, all you have at that point is headcanon. And in your headcanon, Luke is the peak of his fucking Jedi training, and he's off having fucking adventures with his best buddy R2-D2, and they're making more Jedis, and they're saving the fucking galaxy. And I it was so satisfying. And I've been talking way too much, and I'm going to let Scott take over.
Yeah,
how'd you feel?
Real quick before I get into the episode, in your head canon, what kind of shit do you think R2D2 says? Is he like happy-go-lucky, or is he like a real cynic? You know what I mean?
No,
like,
he's a shit talker.
He's a shit talker for sure.
100%.
Yeah, although he, like the rest of us, melted when he saw Baby Yoda, and it was fucking adorable.
Yeah. His little beep boop rock back, dude.
He was like, Biodes.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god.
I mean, dude, everything about this episode was incredible. It was cool to see the slave ones, the way the slave one's gun turret works. Just like when I had it as a kid, it was a little toy. Like I had the fucking action figures and the dude. It was so cool to see it actually like do that cool little maneuver. One of my favorite things about this season has been getting like kind of a behind the scenes MTV Cribs version of the Slave One, where you see like how it works, how they manage to be in this cargo hold while it's going. While it's like
that was cool. Yeah,
like it's got like its own little center of gravity rotating around the entire chamber. Thought that was fucking dope. The Dark Troopers, I mean, you said it like Terminator, dude. It was just so intense and terrifying. To watch him face off against one of them was just this incredible. Like, dude, it was scary. It was honestly like scary to watch a little bit. Like, and obviously, of course, like we watched them get ejected, and there's that sigh of relief, like, oh, thank God, there's no way he could have fought all of them. And but like you don't even like. There's so much going on, you don't even have time to think. Like, but wait, they're
like, they're robots.
Yeah, they're robots. They're gonna fly back. We watched this last episode. And it's just it was awesome, man. The reveal of Luke, obviously seeing the X-wing, I was giddy. I was like a little kid. I have two issues with the episode. Both of them were all around Luke Skywalker. One of which is that most of the action we see is through them watching monitors. I would have rather had the reveal of Luke's face, maybe be face to face with them, but you don't have to tease us out with who this is for as long as you did. Like, I wanted to see the elevator.
It was a little weird.
Oh yeah, I wanted to see the elevator doors open Darth Maul style and him come in and fuck them up. I want to see everything from the point of view of these Dark Troopers, maybe, or from his point of view, like an over the shoulder action shot, like something that's more personal. I wanted to savor every slash of the lightsaber and every reflected blaster bolt. You know what I mean? I wanted that scene to be just in that moment. And I didn't need to see how the other characters were reacting to it. We could have seen it all on their faces. You could show the monitor at first, have one of them like looking at a monitor of the door, and then transition to the actual door opening, and have this entire sequence play out from Luke's perspective and the perspective of the Dark Troopers that are going to just cut the fuck down. And then when the door opens at the end, and we see all their faces, that's our reaction to all this stuff that just happened. We don't need to see them shot by shot reacting to every fucking move he makes. It was unnecessary. And I know Disney has a huge hard-on for de-aging people.
God, yeah.
It was not good.
They should have just recast somebody. As much as like I know no one can ever play Luke but Mark Hamill. I get it. But we've seen pictures of Sebastian Stan photoshopped with like Luke's hair and the little chin dimples more pronounced. That to me would have been a much better option. Or just not even showing Luke's face at all, maybe. Like just having the robe be on the whole time and hearing the voice. The face was so bad.
But really, even if they couldn't afford to get, someone like Bucky, I forget his name. It's you just said it too. Isn't that horrible? Really, just anyone who even mildly resembled him. I feel like studios don't get that like we're okay with filling out the rest with our brains. Like you don't need to fucking de-age people or do like a full, like it's okay. Like we'll do the work on that aspect. Otherwise it just takes you out of it a little bit. I agree with you that was one of my only complaints about the episode.
Universally, basically everyone I've seen has been like, well, the fucking the reveal itself was so fucking good and the episode was so fucking good as a whole, but that like the CGI face, it's like we're basically forgiving you for that because the episode was so good.
Yeah.
But and I forget who I was talking to about it, but if you still frame any of his conversation, he looks great. He looks lifelike. He looks like Luke. Yeah. But as soon as you have to watch that thing try to talk, it's not Luke, and that's what ruins it for everybody.
It looks so out of place. It reminds me of like when Lucas redid the original trilogy in like 1998 or 1999, and you had that weird scene in Jabba's palace with like the dance number, that Udima, and like you're just like that looks like it doesn't. It looks like it came off of a honeycomb box. What the fuck is it doing here?
Speaking of Jabba's palace,
I know, baby, I
That was a good segue.
Can I just say one more thing that
absolutely
I didn't like about the episode? There's very few things, but this one's kind of made. It's really not about the episode as much as it's about the whole season.
Okay.
The Dark Troopers look fucking stupid. They look like fucking Bionicles. And it makes any like the
they
scene,
do look like Bionicles.
The scene, like the context of the scene where he's fighting him was great, but every time it actually honed in on his face, I was like, I almost wanted to look away. It's like looks like an action figure. They look so bad. How is nobody? They look so bad.
I mean, they 100% look like action figures, but I think that's the point. They're going to sell a shitload of action figures.
Yeah, right, yeah. But I mean, other than that, and other than the CGI, it really was a fucking great episode.
It really was.
Down to Mando and Beode's farewell to one another was like I started to get choked up. And whenever I watch things with Veronica and I start to get choked up, I'm like, oh my God, I like hope she can't see me. So I have to like try to hide a little bit. But it was very emotional. It was very hard to hide it.
Can we also all just take a round of applause that he finally shaved off that fucking dirt stash? Because he looks so much better without that gross pedo stash on that he had on in previous episodes. Like, thank you. You look like a proper... I mean, there's so many things to talk about here, but before we get into that, I just want you boys to check out the chat on Discord. For my
he was a little chunkin', wasn't he?
Yeah.
My concept art and potential title for episode 13, which would be, if I had my druthers, a bib, comma, for Tuna.
It was a really cool deep dive to see Bib Fortuna come back, but it also made me feel way better about myself because he's aging way worse than I am.
Yeah, he doesn't look good.
Oh yes,
he's aging like Bam Margera.
That's that fun fact. That actually is Bam Margera. Didn't even need makeup. It's weird.
Bam Fortuna.
Bam Fortuna.
So I actually wanted to say one more thing, but I forgot. I wanted to share that to you boys. So we also have to take into account that in this episode, Mandalorian, our boy Din Djarin is now Mandalore. He is now the one that holds the Darksaber and the leader of the Mandalorian people.
Yeah,
and he doesn't want it.
I don't want it. Yeah, he's like Jon Snow in season 8 already.
Right. There's a little bit of contention around this, and I don't know if you guys know this or have seen it in an article anywhere. Bo-Katan and Gideon really gets off on this, and you can tell when he first fights the Mandalorian, I said that weird, the Mandalorian, that he knew that facing him meant trouble for Bo, and he was like waiting for it to happen. And he has like a great pleasure in explaining to Mandalorian. He's like, she can't take it. She has to fight you to take it. This is he's like eating this fucking popcorn. Like someone should make the Thriller Michael Jackson popcorn eating, but with Moff Gideon's face. I now want to make that. Oddly.
Yeah. If you can figure out how to do that, I really need that in my life.
And that's the point of contention, because while it typically has been won in one-on-one combat, in Clone Wars, actually Rebels, Sabine Wren is the character in Rebels who finds the Darksaber and gives it, because it was thought lost, gives it to Bo-Katan. She just hands it to her and says, here, you should be the leader of the Mandalorian people, and she takes it. In this, they make it very clear that it has to be won by combat. Obviously, you don't have to die because he spared Moff Gideon, but it has to be won by combat. We all know Din Djarin's a bad motherfucker, so she might have a real hard time getting it from him.
But that was my issue with it. I don't know why he was just like, all right, punch me in the head and I'll drop it. Like, then technically you beat me.
Yeah, so here's the only, it's I don't know if it'll end up being real, but the headcanon or the through line that people are assuming the reason she's being a stickler for it is because it was given to her by somebody, and it was obviously taken from her in combat by Moff Gideon. Like, it was given to her as like, here, you're the leader. And then it was taken from her in a battle by Gideon. And she probably feels like she can't be leader unless she earns that shit back in a proper fight. And that's the only way she'll have the confidence to actually be the leader she wants to be. And that's fine if that's eventually the answer. And even if it's not, I'm not going to hang on it too much, because motherfuck, this episode was a goddamn joy, boys.
2 in 1. There it is.
I don't know. I don't know what more to say about this episode that won't just be me like giving the sloppiest wet blowjob that I can to it. just both hands on the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's really like my dilemma
is it
too.
Borgali
It's like,
cock this episode? How would you just
Borgali?
Yeah, Borgali.
Uh-huh.
Borgali.
The Borgullet.
Borgali.
But I can't do Forrest Whitaker though, so that's
I mean,
pretty
that's
good.
not even Forrest Whitaker. That's just somebody having an asthma attack. Like this. Is it what is it? I thought it was Borgully.
It's Borgullet with a T.
Oh, he doesn't pronounce that T.
Borgullet.
He doesn't pronounce that T at all.
No.
Yeah, he really just hangs off it.
Borgullet. Borgullet.
Yeah, I can't even do that though. Like I had childhood asthma and I can't sound like that.
Now, also the sound of Forrest Whitaker breathing is just the most unsettling thing. Like you would think Darth Vader.
Yeah,
would
not
have
even
the
in the movie, just any time ever. God, that guy's having a hard time, isn't he?
Yeah. You ever see that movie Mimic, where like Forrest Whitaker got like his big break?
Yeah.
Mimic.
I feel like I have. That's an older one, right?
Yeah. No one else in it
bit.
is still making movies out of it. Mira Sorvino, or whatever the fuck her name was in it. She was hot in the 90s, but where is she now? Hope she's not dead. I'm gonna check.
Nowhere.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say, but I mean, like the biggest takeaway I had from it is that we, what we already said. It's like this whole time I've been like, oh, everything always comes back to Skywalkers. Let someone else, blah blah blah. And like even leading up to it, when I saw the X-wing, I was like, don't be fucking Luke, man. Like, please don't be Luke. But once he showed up, I was like, this is pretty sick. Like this was actually done.
Yeah,
they somehow did the most expected thing in a way that like turned my opinion around. I thought it was really good.
But it was very, very well done. And Star Wars has always had this thing where George Lucas said, it rhymes. It's like poetry. And everybody makes fun of him for that. But they do such a good job here with the Vader and Luke versions of this fucking shit up nostalgia-fueled glory hole scene where it's like there's Luke, who's the best of us, human fighting robots, and there was Vader, the worst of us, who was a robot at that point, fighting all these rebels who were trying to stay. And there's such an amazing like mirror image of these scenes. And it was just so satisfying. I think it's why it works so well. It's like, yeah, we all thought it was Luke, right? Because Ahsoka got her intro. She clearly wasn't coming back. That was a backdoor pilot, which we're all totally okay with because she's fucking badass. But she's on search for Ezra Bridger. So I mentioned it last episode. It probably wasn't going to be him, because she's looking for him. And if he's right here, then what the fuck is she looking for? Yeah. Mando just be like, hey, Ahsoka, I fucking found him. Your boy you're looking for. And people were saying Cal Kestis. While that would have been cool, they would have had to do weird makeup to age him up because that boy has a young face.
Yeah, he's got a small boy face.
Yeah.
And also, you don't want to give away. There has to be some tension in his trilogy. You don't want to give away that you don't want to tell us all that everyone survives and then fill in the blank because there's no stakes. It's like in Solo when they showed Chewie hanging off the side of the train and you're like, that's no emotional stake for me. He's fucking fine.
Why are we wasting frames on this? Like, we know he's fine.
Yeah. You don't show him hanging out. Yeah. It's actually, forced face drama.
You can cut that scene with him falling off, like actively falling, and just like we'll fill in the blanks the rest of ourselves, like you said earlier. Like we'll make our own headcanon. Like naturally he's gonna survive. He's got plot armor because it takes place before A New Hope. One thing that was really crazy about this episode to me though is we saw last episode, we saw the Mandalorian take his helmet off because he had to. And Bill Burr's character, Mayfield saw him without his mask, as well as did several Imperial officers. And in this one, we see him like willingly take it off just to say goodbye to Baby Yoda. And like to see the tear, you can see the tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
When Baby Yoda touches his face, man, like, dude,
it was very sad.
It was
pretty rough.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was like really just beautiful, honestly, because like you realize that like this. As is the culture of the Mandalorians, like this, the foundlings are treated like children. They're raised as like your own. Basically.
Yeah.
And over the course of these 2 seasons, I'm not sure how long it is canonically in the timeline, but it's been months, right? It has to be. This kid's
at least, I would say, at least every year.
Yeah. So this kid's like, it's like his son. He loves him.
Yeah.
You know,
and there's the beautiful conversation there where he looks at him and Mando says he doesn't want to go with you, and Luke says he wants your permission.
Yeah,
and you're like,
that punched me directly
give me the permission,
into
Daddy.
my heart. Yeah,
yeah, dude.
One thing that broke my heart also is that I don't think we get to see Baby Yoda Grogu get back the shifter knob that Mando.
Oh no, he didn't. You're right.
Mando recovered in episode 6.
That'll be how they reconnect, calling it now.
There's a lot of theories about where they go from here, but I'll let you finish up your thought before I move on to the post-credits scene and those theories.
I honestly just want to dive headfirst into those juicy theories, to be honest. There's a lot of implications. I mean, we talked about it before in episode 3 when Bo-Katan showed up, that I thought that we all kind of we're like, it's gonna be a larger net. It's not gonna be about Baby Yoda for the entire time. Like they're gonna find a way to close that loop, or at least put that on the back burner for a while, because there's this. They introduced the Darksaber for a reason, and now we know what that reason is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we're gonna see somebody who is far removed from the Mandalorian culture, is considered a zealot by some.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not anymore. He's taking his fucking helmet off just because he's got the feelies. But I think
a case of the feelies.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be cool, because I think a lot of people who again didn't sit through 7 or 8 seasons of Clone Wars, didn't watch Rebels because it's a lot to digest, and like a lot of even diehard Star Wars fans, when you hear Clone Wars, you think of that initial cartoon that was out, and you just think it's gonna be for children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't expect that tonal shift that happens in the show to happen at all. So for a lot of people, I think this is gonna be their first experience to really dive into the lore of the Mandalorians, and we're gonna learn more about their culture through the eyes of an outsider who's also their king now. Or their leader.
Yeah.
That's a really
an unwilling king, because they're always the best ones. The ones that don't want it,
really,
because they're going to end up being the best king option. It's going to be great. I can't wait. So
do we think he's going to stay? I don't think he has any interest in leading the Mandalorians, though. I mean, I don't think, but I mean, any interest in carrying through with it, though.
He doesn't, but if Bo-Katan, he might have to at least keep, even if he completely ignores the responsibilities of it, he's still going to be the leader, because let's be real, Bo-Katan, I don't know that she can take it from him. She might, but if he even a little bit flubs the fight, if he fakes a loss, she's going to be able to fucking tell. Mm-hmm. And I don't think she's going to take it. I think, I don't know. There's a lot of theories about the future of the show. Some people are positing that there might be a time jump to next season, so that Baby Yoda's a little older, trained a bit, and something happens where they have to reconnect, because they're not getting Baby Yoda out of the series. There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
But now he's with Luke, and it's like, well, they're not going to be bringing Luke around willy-nilly all the time. So they might be at some kind of time jump. Something happens. Maybe they time jump to around the time Kylo Ren is there at the Jedi Temple he creates and is about to fucking wipe it out. And, maybe he gets saved from that, because the implications that Grogu his end might just be at the hands of Kylo Ren and his other buddies in the Knights of Ren is garbage, and I don't think they'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's also like what, like how long after the Battle of Endor did Leia and Han conceive canonically?
So I actually know this answer.
Mm-hmm. I knew you would.
Kylo, well, not about the conceiving thing, but I know that Kylo Ren is about 4 or 5 right now with the events that are happening. Okay. He has not started his Jedi Temple. He will not do so for another, I think, 6 years. So that was right
after then. This is 5 years after, right?
So this period is a period of time where we know nothing about what Luke's doing. He's apparently been traveling the galaxy looking for old teachings. It might be where he finds those texts that get burned in The Last Jedi. It's where he's looking for Sith and Jedi relics to he's basically just exploring the mysteries of the Sith and the Jedi, which is an awesome fucking thing. He's not the leader of a Jedi Temple. The Jedi Temple's not established yet. It won't be for a while. And there's kind of like a low-key fact that we all learned with this episode that that I've seen really talked about, which is we now know Luke's first official apprentice is Grogu. I mean, besides teaching Leia, you can count Leia, but I don't know why. Maybe just because it's a sister. To me, she doesn't count.
Yeah, they kissed. It's invalid when they
you kiss your sister, and somehow we keep bringing it back to that.
I mean, she still counts on his punch card, if you know what I mean.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, well.
Still on the belt loop.
Is Luke a virgin? Luke's got to be a virgin, right?
Oh, he's like, a total fucking virgin simp.
Because he was a giant fucking nerd, and then he kissed his sister right when he was starting to get kind of cool because he was a Jedi. Yeah. And then he found out, and he was a full-blown Jedi who tried to avoid attachments.
Now he just lives with the guilt of kissing his sister for the rest of his life, and never
He's like, you know what? Let me never kiss anyone ever again.
His entire rest of his life is penance for kissing his sister.
Yeah, like he just lives on. Like that's not. He didn't flee in fucking The Force Awakens because of the failure of his academy. It's really just the shame of being a dirty, weird sister kisser. And then and he spends the rest of his life on this island just sucking on bird titties and jerking off. It's just like
exactly. And that's because every time he's sitting in his hut and has untoward thoughts about his sister, Yoda's Force Ghost shows up and just shakes his head at him.
Yeah. He's like, come on, really?
But like sometimes Yoda shows up and he's like, oh, you gotta do that while I'm in here. Like
just coming, are you? Okay, last thing to talk about because we have a couple minutes left. There was an after credit scene here, which teased something pretty cool. We see a cut, and I immediately went, Jabba's Palace. And I was like, what the fuck are we doing here? Because it took me a second, but I went, Jabba's Palace, and I went, wait, he's dead. Okay. So we pull in, and it's neat because they mirror the same shot from Return of the Jedi, where Luke's coming down the stairs, and you see the shadow on the fucking wall, except for this time it's Fennec Shand and Boba Fett. And they walk in, and of course, like you will see in our episode graphic, they see a very fat Bib Fortuna sitting on the throne.
He's just the baddest.
He's all chunky
Fortuna.
monkey. Yeah.
And he's sitting there. Nice reference to Return of the Jedi. One of the singers, the entertainers, is there in the background with the crazy like pink yellow hair. Not pink yellow, but pink purple hair. And he's apparently just trying to run shit now, looking like he's just eating everything in sight. And he was like, oh, Boba, I'm happy to see you. He says some weird shit. He just murders him. And then Boba sits on the throne, and they flash a title card that says The Book of Boba Fett, December 2021. So it's a year away. They've known this was happening for a bit.
Yeah.
Right? Like they didn't wait to see the reception of Boba this season because this is a year away. Pre-production's already probably been in for a year, maybe a year and a half at this point.
They probably already have shot everything or most of it.
Yeah.
If it's live, like we don't even know what it is though. Like we have no context yet.
Yeah.
Well, I'm imagining it's live action. But like, what hijinks? What are we doing? What's the series? I mean, his debt to Mando's paid off. Obviously, he left to go just kill this motherfucker because I don't even really know why he killed him because it's not like they sabotaged Boba's jetpack. He got kicked by Han Solo. But fuck him because Bib Fortuna was a garbage alien anyway.
Yeah, I hate that his head tendrils got fat with his chins. That's the most uncomfortable part of the whole.
Just that,
yeah, like his chubby tendies, his little tendy boys.
Not like his crazy fingernails that look like he's in Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah, I don't even care. Like he could scratch my back. I don't give a shit. But
oh no! Oh, what if he's scratching your back while one of those fat tendrils is laying over your shoulder?
Yeah, literally, just like during it, like he promises it won't touch you, but like during, he just shifts some way, and then you just feel like right on your back.
Oh man,
and it's sweaty too. I would porous.
Do you know those things? I would dry heave, and then I think I would legit vomit. Like it'd be like two dry heave warnings, and the third one just be like just projectile.
Yeah, probably doesn't smell good either. You know, it's probably like one big old armpit.
Like you ever have a friend who had like giant buttholes in their ears, like those plugs back in the day,
and they stink,
and their ears they get like the ear cheese. Like, why don't you wash your fucking ears, you disgusting animal?
Yeah, his whole tentacle is filled with gauge cheese. I'm with you on
that. It's just coated. It's coated in ear
Swiss cheese.
Yeah,
Swiss cheese maybe.
Also, can I say Fennec Shand leaning on the side of that chair, sipping that blue alcohol is the hottest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my god, fully erect.
Yeah, did you know that the actress who plays Fennec Shand is in her 50s?
I didn't.
Yeah,
no, she does not look that way.
She played Chun-Li in that horrible Jean-Claude Van Damme Street Fighter movie.
Oh, holy shit.
40 fucking years ago almost, bro. Wait, not 30 years. But
it wasn't that long. I was going to say.
Yeah. No, but dude, she's fucking like, dude, she is just.
She's looking good, yeah.
She's like in her like mid 50s. I think she's like 56 years old, something like that.
Yeah,
and she looks.
I'd like for her to step on my throat wearing stilettos. That would be something I'd be into, you know?
Yeah,
Two things about her character.
I wouldn't care if her innards that we saw in that one episode where she opens up her.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care if her vagina was a tuna can opener. I would still go for it. I would have to.
Oh no!
I would have to try. She's got that droid puss.
A tuna can opener.
It's honestly just a fleshlight.
That's Drussy, dude.
Drussy.
So two things. The alcohol she's drinking is called Spatchka, and they've shown it multiple times throughout the fucking season. Timothy Oliphant was drinking it in the bar in the first episode, actually, the blue shit in the cantina. Canteen. And the other thing was, she showed up in the Bad Batch trailer, and I almost missed it. I went back and watched it again.
Really?
She's in one of the shots with her face mask up that's like covers half of her face.
That's fucking awesome.
they're going to be exploring her backstory a bit more there too, and I think that's really neat. But it's like you have live action characters going animated and animated characters coming to live action, and I fucking love it. Please, Disney, give all of your Star Wars properties to Filoni and Favreau, please. And they furthered that evidence here. This payoff was like things they've done in Clone Wars. There were episodes in Rebels where the Hammerhead corvettes of the Rebel Alliance fleet, there's a cameo from Princess Leia in one of the episodes, and it shows how the Rebel Alliance got those ships. And it's stuff like that. It's like those are the kind of things that Filoni is able to deftly weave in where, yes, it's fan service, but it's done so fucking well, and they don't let the fan service take center stage. This is still a show about the Mandalorian. I still want to see where his storyline goes next season, but seeing Luke in this episode was just the fucking... It was amazing. It was everything I wanted.
Yeah.
And it's everything we didn't even know we wanted because we were bitching about it last week. Yeah.
In fact, it's what we thought we didn't want until it happened.
And then I was like, oh shit. Oh, I did want this. Yes, please. Yes, please. I don't know. I don't have any final.
You're back to being that young, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed porn star again, Chris.
Oh yeah, yes, sir. Please, I'd like some more.
Oh no, little Orphan Oliver cum joke. Oh no.
Final thoughts before we wrap it up, boys. I'm just gonna sweep right past that one.
Yeah, my final thought
I feel
is
like you encapsulate.
My final thought
is ew. Fair.
I have no final thought that could possibly outdo.
No, I could say it, please, out loud.
Little Orphan Oliver twist cum joke. Was really.
Please, sir.
I regret.
Please, sir. Can I have some ropes?
I regret asking you to say it, but also I'm gonna wear that badge because I made it.
How's that badge?
I'm gonna sit in
How's
it.
that badge attached to your shirt? Is it like a clip-on or is it a little pin guy?
Just a little goo. Just
just
a little extra spit. All right, boys. You can find us on, I don't know, me at least on a fucking Predator list now because of that joke I just made. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at TCN Plays. Scott, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook and Twitter. I'm Swearwolf with an E. That's SWEARWOLFE. Wish I would have left the E off. It would have leave me a whole bunch of lines of dialogue every single episode, and every time I explain where I stream and why.
Derek, how about you?
You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Dr. Gloom MD, DRGLOOMMD.
Nice. All right, with that, we're going to wrap up episode 13 of The Cynical Nerd. We'll be back next week. We don't have any more Mandalorian to talk about. We're going to have to figure something out.
Show now. I know it's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, the fucking WandaVision doesn't come out until January 15th, and we don't even know if we're going to like talking about that. We're going to have to wait to find out, you know? So I don't know how you boys feel about it. Maybe we'll do some kind of Christmas-themed watch-along this week. Maybe.
Or we'll just watch Real Housewives of New Jersey until WandaVision comes out.
It's
another idea.
I honestly would be 100% down to watch an episode of that.
All right, boys. And on this week, Tatiana completely bitched out.
There's definitely a Tatiana. You know, there's a Tatiana and like a Candace.
There's gotta be.
There's a Candace with a C, a Candace with a K. Candace with a K is ironically a bigger cunt than Candace with a C. I know it's...
Yeah. And then there's also Candy,
there, right?
Yeah. And everybody mixes them all up.
But it's like Can-DI.
Oh no!
Yeah.
You're right, and I hate you for
She's an influencer, but nobody knows why or what she
Nobody's
does.
influenced whatsoever.
Yeah.
She has like 200 followers, but she makes posts, like viral posts every day while she's also in her confession booth.
All right, gentlemen. I will talk to you next week. Everybody have a good one. And I don't know. This feels extra corny, but I may the force be with you. I had to say it.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah,
Jesus
really.
Christ.
No, you can't end it like that. I'm sorry.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll end it like this. Please, sir. I'd like some more cum.
All right.
No, that's worse. No, that's even worse.
No? Third? All right.
All right.
Third try.
I will say I was going to write a Night Before Christmas themed poem about Tom Hanks, cum and pee,
okay.
and read it to you in a British accent to close out the episode, but I didn't have time to do that this week because it's been a shit show of a week, and I am all consumed by World of Warcraft. But next week I'll have a Christmas themed little nightmare for you.
Something to look forward
to.
to.
Anticipate that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can open with that.
We 100% can. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's the Christmas episode. Yeah.
Cool. All right, episode 14 next week is going to be our Christmas episode, and we'll see you guys next week.
Piss Kringle. Calling it now. Piss Kringle.